Get going.
I can't jump.
On the wood, jumping jacks, get going. I thought this would be a funny bit, and I find nothing. And then I find this.
This wood is moving a lot.
When it gets to Wings' turn, we don't even get a believable gag. Wife and future victim, Kelly, comes in to save her bloated corpse of a husband. You know this event wasn't real because Jordy's first response wasn't to immediately throw Kelly under the bus, like the loving husband he definitely is.
What are pineapple lumps?
What is this? Is that the same thing? And they're open too.
This is British shit. This is British food. This is all British stuff.
You got your shit imported?
I got hypoglycemia.
How do you have British stuff?
I don't
know where with pineapple.
gave it to him. Whoa. What are y'all doing with my candy?
Nice try.
What are y'all doing with my candy?
Nice try.
That's your candy.
That's totally mine.
She's lying.
No, this is mine.
You hated England.
What are you talking about? It's totally mine.
Was that yours or hers? Is she covering for you right now?
She's got a smile on her face.
Would I ever lie for him?
She's a diabetic. I had to have it. I figured y'all do so.
50!
I mean, heck, if you want the punishment, go for it.
I believe Jordy. I believe
That's a good
Jordy.
wife.
I want it on record that I believe Kelly.
That was a good.
So let's get into the actual activities, cause all I've been is a negative Nancy this entire time. Surely, whatever they have planned will keep the viewers' attention, right?
We're at 170, boys.
70?
170.
Dude, that's actually unsafe. That's why we're gonna add.
Woody's gamer tag. Whoa. Woody's gamer tag is Pay Pig.
The Fat Camp is flawed from the perspective that if they wanted it to actually be successful, they need a much larger production staff to film and set up different angles. No one wants to see 5 fat dudes sit in a room and act out garbage. It truly reminds me of the parody skits that Gator Poon used to do back in the day.
Holy shit, Bill got naked, brother!
Never mind the fact that the weekday streams are maxed out at 2 hours. They're literally counting down the seconds to stop streaming. They have zero interest in entertaining the audience. And when they try to entertain, like buying a beater car to push around and break, they aren't charismatic enough to hold your attention.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God.
Do it again. Who needs a car compactor?
Brady.
Damn. This ain't coming out.
We're getting it out.
Come on. Go. Everybody pull. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
Outside of swimming and the car, we only really see them do half-ass exercise in the garage, where you guessed it, they try and conjure up some drama over who wants to date Bonnie from Rango the most.
Bitch, get off, you lost.
Nope. I called up for it. I believe him. I believe him, but I ain't believing him. I ain't believing him. That's how it works. He traps you.
I'll be the last one.
Come on, you can get off.
I want to get off.
I'll get off whenever I see Desi.
You nasty.
In a last-ditch effort to try and salvage this company picnic, they decide to let the pay pigs decide the next exercise. They ultimately end up on exercise ball soccer, which lasts all of 5 minutes before Wings decides to sit down on the ground and Boogie shows off his fat wounds.
Put a number on there. You said you're not afraid.
I'm not afraid of water. I'm not in my swim trunks.
Dang, he's afraid.
I'm afraid, dog.
We're all afraid. I'm afraid too.
Oh, motherfucker. See, that's funny.
I feel like we're low energy right now.
Why? It could be the lack of
I mean,
food.
dude, okay, listen.
Dude, we've been eating less than 500
This
calories
is
a
the
day.
one time I allowed the chat to write the content, and this is what they said they wanted. So
Exactly.
now we did an hour of workouts. Now we're left with an hour. What are we doing?
How many red donuts for you to get in the water?
Dude. water as far as the camera goes. Well, we can get back in the gym and start working out in the elliptical.
I'm barely be able to make it back to my cabin at this point.
Come on, Wings.
No. Wings, get it. We all
Wings,
done
are you
the same thing.
faking it?
No, I'm not faking.
So now that we've established that this isn't a fat camp and that even when they feign interest in participating and elevating their heart rates above a resting level, the content is just uninspiring and boring. So they have to resort to an alternative, which happens to be sitting in the theater room, destroying the recliners, and listening to text-to-speech donations for the next 6 hours.
So this stream was set up to be around a campfire.
And that did not work.
That didn't work. Just we're dealing with the same old shit. Today it's freezing, and we got about gusts of 40 mile per hour winds. So we are in the theater. Now here's the good news. We're gonna be live like for 6 hours. We're live from now until midnight.
Oh,
No, I'm not doing it.
now it's midnight.
So I do want to say,
Congratulations, everybody. You've reached the boogie faking an illness segment of the video. Let's give it up to the same bit, just progressively worse and worse each time they pull it out.
Travel Mimic superchatted $25.83.
Buggy.
Boogie has passed out. He is pouring his water all over the floor.
God. Check his pulse. I don't know how to do that.
Boogie.
Roxy!
He's got a pulse.
He's got pulse?
Yeah, he's got a pulse. Boogie.
Brady, you know how to do this shit? Medical shit?
How you feel, Boogie? You just go to sleep on us? Or you pass out? Or are we gonna scream?
Dude, you just passed out.
Move.
Are we gonna scream?
Are you okay?
Yeah. Hey.
Look at me. Follow my fingers. Don't move your head. This way. Billy, Boogie, don't scare me.
Just a little overheated.
Drink. Gatorade.
His eyes are not. Drink, yes.
Take a big swig.
Shooting 3 beats a minute.
Sorry.
33 beats is low. I mean, it's what's your regular heart rate usually?
70.
He's low. He's low.
Sorry, I just got a little overheated, I think.
Do you feel this?
Yeah.
And your foot up. His legs are so freaking hard. You gotta get these off. These compression socks have to come off, and his feet have to go up.
Do we need to call someone, or is he gonna be all right?
I don't know. Keep drinking that and get his feet up for a minute.
Drink.
Yeah.
Get this off. We need something, a bench or something. Get his feet up. They have to be elevated.
All right.
can we put the seat up?
Can I get a stool or something?
Can we? He has there's the stool built into the seat.
Yeah. Move.
Yes.
Move your hand. Look for the thing and pull, Boogie. Pull.
Okay.
Roxy, I had a wet work. Sorry, I just took a little nap there for a second.
No, you're not okay because your eye movement's not even good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to fall asleep during the stream. I'm sorry.
Does this lay back or no?
Yeah. Damn it.
Okay, lay back.
Do we need to call an ambulance?
No.
No, he's okay for now.
I think it's all right for now.
All right.
He's okay for now.
All right.
As long as he can feel this. Can you feel this?
Yeah.
You feel this?
Yeah.
Okay, he's all right for now. You gotta keep your legs up for a little bit.
Okay.
You know it's a serious situation when even Keemstar, the most honest, respectable content creator online, decides he has to put on his tap dance shoes and put on a performance just to promote their dog shit AI generated merch, which you have to link your YouTube to access. I'm not doing that shit. Imagine instead if you bought real artist design merch, no account required on saturatedcontentshop.fourthwall.com. Check out the link below.
Can we get some ivermectin instead?
Getting some apple cider vinegar? Guys, I hate to do this to you.
All of it?
Huh?
You took your camera?
2 of them, yeah.
I hate to do this to you, but we're down bad over here. Boogie might be dying. And imagine a world where Boogie does not make it.
Sorry, they hurt.
And he dies. Do you want to be a real one who had a Lolcow Live hoodie when he was alive? Or do you want to be one of those fake saying, I'm going to buy this to remember him after he's already gone? What's the story you want to tell your friends and family?
So during one of their innovating and thought-provoking conversations, Boogie leaks out that they spent the first day there scripting out the events that would happen during this event, one of which would be the catalyst for the ultimate meltdown.
When I went and got water for the whole camp, I came back, I helped you write shit. I like writing emails and shit. I'm here all day working.
Okay, to be fair, Jordy helped out huge things.
Yes, we all did.
No, Jordy helped out the most. He went and picked up that car.
Keem has been master planning a whole Lolcow multiverse. He's overstimulated at the idea that he could surround himself with a herd of people more embarrassing than himself. So he got to work. He began propping up spin-off Lolcow podcasts with the clinically depressed and the mentally insane. One of these people, and probably the most entertaining of the bunch, is a woman named Becky. A woman who can't get along with anyone, causes drama, and most importantly, causes Keem to just salivate over the potential that she brings. And guess what? They constantly dangle her in front of the audience. Will she get fired? Is she going to jail? Do we hate her? Etc., etc. And the mouth breathers who donate fucking love this.
I need to talk to you real quick.
About what?
I just need to talk to you. Like, it honestly doesn't really matter. I actually need to talk to you. Like, right now. There's somebody at the door that needs to talk to you. Come on.
Bring me 5 hours when you come back. Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, bring me a water when you come back.
Lolcow Live.
You need to talk to me, bro. Like, right now.
Hey, Captain! Bring me a 5 hour when you come.
Bro.
What are you trying to say?
Keem.
Did you hear him?
Keem!
Listen what he's trying to pull.
Guys,
Bro, I'm dead ass, bro.
shut up! Okay, wait, tell him who's here. Who's here?
Go tell them.
Who?
Becky, yo. How? You're not f***ing me? Becky.
How? How would that even
She's
be
not
possible?
here. You're a liar. You're bringing
I swear to God.
You're a fucking liar. Bringing the roast pig. What the f? Oh, for f***'s sakes, I'm not working with her.
So she gets introduced as randomly showing up to the house, which will be squashed at a later time. And the cows give a performance of a lifetime, pretending like they were completely unaware of her making an appearance. The problem is their acting is worse than a Cyrax Cry sympathy video. It's abundantly clear to everyone, except those who bankroll their SSI payments to the show, that this was calculated from the very beginning.
Do it live. Do it live.
How did you get in through the gate?
How the f*** you get here, period, you big bitch? Who let you in?
I waited by the gate.
Who let you in?
Bro.
Oh, her ass is bigger than person.
This.
Holy shit, her ass is bigger.
She got some stuff. Me?
She loves you.
What you said there?
Well,
It was
This. This.
Wait, let's come on before Kelly has a fit because it's big ugly bitch came.
Oh, what are you doing?
No, I'm getting a piss. I'm taking a piss. I'm not.
God damn it, I'm not working with her.
Gina, can you not scream? I need it.
As soon as Becky showed up, she instantly began having issues with everyone. This included getting into a scrap with your local 7-Eleven employee, to which both Keem and Wings had to step in to stop the altercation.
Holy shit! Oh my god!
the lead is on.
Game! Game! Get over there now! Now! They're fighting! Keep away. Yeah, I ain't getting that shit. I can't fight.
Stop. No more. No, let go. Stop. Actually, stop. No, stop. Roxy, stop. Roxy. Somebody help me.
You gonna stop?
Just stop. That's way too far. This is way too far.
She wanted your hair because she's bald.
Because Tina inserted herself.
Blame me.
I'm good. I gotta come back. I'm not gonna talk to you. I can't be held. Okay. Dude, come on.
I told you that's why you have to take care of things. That's why
Roxy, just walk.
Later, on the main show, Wings leaks that Keem helped pay for half in order to get Becky to the picnic. Keem tries to play coy in order to not tip his hand that they were planning on bringing her in from the start. Keem does his best fence-sitting impersonation in order to justify why he allows insane people to keep getting third, fourth, fifth chances.
Like taking care of the furniture. I'm actually really surprised. They want to address what I said. Because I said we all had to pass the hat around to get Becky here.
There's also a missed dono from Trusted Texan. Wait, so y'all paid Becky to come, meaning it was planned? I'm confused.
It's not so much that we paid Becky to come. Becky called begging to come, but she didn't have the funds to do it. So Keem and Mike got together and they paid half of her bill to get here.
Who told you that?
I was in the room.
In what room?
With the Becky conversation.
Oh, after she got here?
Right. I don't know. I don't remember the timeline, but it is what it is.
When she was like begging for money? I'm like, you just showed up. It's a scale that's constantly going back and forth. We need to get rid of her. She's good for the brand. We need to get rid of her. She's good for the brand. If you go back to, and I'm sorry that we keep using this reference, Boogie faking cancer, it's like, should we fire him? Wait a minute. Why was Boogie even on Local Live in the first place? Because he does shit like that. You know, and it's like, it's you know, if you're watching and you're confused and you don't understand that, then I don't know what to tell you.
Wings' mourning of putting his hands on women gets brought back up. He justifies his actions by saying he just needed to defuse the situation. Wings acknowledges that they can't let people beat the shit out of each other because there would be a legal and criminal precedent that would be set. It's pretty cute foreshadowing.
Says, are we going to ignore that Wings put Roxy in a full Nelson chokehold to hold her off Becky? I put her in a full Nelson, not a chokehold. The only reason I put her in a full Nelson is because I didn't want her to hit Becky anymore. That's the whole goal. Yeah. Because when your arms are like this, you can't really use them. Still scratch me in the eyelid though.
Dude, I can't remember whose hand I was holding, but I was holding I think I was holding Roxy's hand from punching Becky, and then I had Becky's hand from punching Roxy. I had two hands.
Nobody jumps up to help in this moment.
They don't.
No, listen, y'all did your due diligence, and like obviously we have to do what we have to do, right? But at the same time, how to just let them beat each other out?
Well, you can't
get it over with. Because Becky, you think that's the only fist fight Becky's going to be in?
Finish the job.
Yes.
No.
Hopefully.
Keem gets his panties in a knot because the morons he works with act like morons. At some point, Keem has to accept that these people are the way that they are. Pull an iDubbbz, be the puppet master and orchestrate things from the shadows so that your feelings don't get hurt by an 80 IQ bowling ball who can't help but leak any and all information that is fed to him.
You have against her, she went on a stream and talked so much shit about you and you always give in to a lie. So we're gonna sit here in silence? You gonna say something?
I'm not telling you anything ever again.
Fine by me.
I've had to fucking deal with every person here trying to leak shit, say everything's my fault, you know, multiple different challenges with the internet and everything else. You know, people criticizing me, mainly Wings, for picking this place. When it's like, dude, what am I supposed to do? Fly down and scout the place and check out stuff? Like, You know what I mean? I don't have time for that. I gotta do a show every
Mistake
day.
that you made. Here's a mistake that you made. A $32,000 mistake. If we did this in April, we could have done this at Lord Rush's place for free with gigabyte internet. But you wanted it faster.
Like a 16-year-old high school girl, Keem tells Wings that he'll never be able to forgive him for leaking that information, even though the audience isn't as stupid as he thinks and can smell bullshit before they see it. This devolves into Wings getting his fragile ego hurt, and a scuffle breaks out where Bald Keem makes an appearance for the whole world to see. Keep in mind that these are two 40-year-old self-described lolcows who create a fake fat camp in order to trick their gullible audience into donating money to them. I forgot to mention that Wings claims that Keem believed that they would make $100,000 off of this trip. Up to this point, I'd probably call bullshit, but with the unbelievable meltdowns we're about to see, I'm not doubting much anymore.
All those waters.
Here's a mistake that you made.
What's that?
You think I'm gonna forgive you for this.
I don't give a
You say that.
I say
I
that.
promise you will. Always just sabotage the brand,
I'm not
sabotage.
sabotaging the brand for a lie that you fucking made. I'm
Yeah.
not sabotaging the brand.
You are.
You creating a lie sabotaging the brand.
And you're even calling it a lie. You know.
It's a fucking lie.
You're even calling it a
What part
lie.
of it is not a
You're
fucking lie?
calling it a fucking
What
lie.
part of it's not a fucking lie?
It's
Tell
not
me
a
which
lie.
part of it.
It's not a
Look
lie.
right
It
there.
was a setup.
That's not a setup.
And
It's
why,
a lie.
why are you getting loud in my face?
Because I can.
Dude, are you serious? You better stop. You better stop. You better stop.
Keem says that he wants to shut the whole situation down and that all Jordy wants to do is fight. Wings likes to tout how he isn't bitch made, but being a grown-ass man and immediately resorting to fighting is low emotional IQ baby shit. Go back to your mama's trailer that you own 25% of, baby boy.
What even set him off?
And he's getting loud in my face. So I got in his face. I'm like, are you serious? And then he started pushing me. I'm like, dude, I'm going to swing. You keep doing that. And he went to go grab me like this.
Yeah.
Like, that's where this came from.
$20.
And I kept saying, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you.
I'm glad
and
you
then he
did.
went and then somehow it got broken up or whatever. He goes, I'm not bitch made. You think I'm You think I am? Go home early, bud. Go home early.
God, just let him breathe. Let him work it out. Then you got.
He can go home early.
Yeah, he can. I mean, we all can. What do you want to play
I'm ready to shut it all down. It's out of control. It's literally out of control.
Sunday off wouldn't hurt.
I go, but you need to go. He's like, oh, I can be here if I want to. I go, well, it's this is right under my name.
That's true.
You know?
I mean, just
so I said, at least go to your cabin. I don't have to.
Super Chat is $20. L. Keen.
Fuck you, asshole.
Why wouldn't he want to go to his cabin? He loves his cabin. Take his wife out to dinner.
Because he wants to fight.
They're gonna say I'm throwing Jordy under the bus when I say what I'm about to say, but I think what happens is Wings either makes some mistakes or perceives that he made a mistake, or somebody perceives that he made a mistake. It can be all three, and then he ends up beating himself up, and by lashing out, ends up like getting other people to beat him up too, and that's like classic Wings.
He goes, we both did the same thing. No, you ran over here, got in my face.
Like a bear in a Wendy's chili all-you-can-eat cook-off, Wings comes flying back outside to fight Keem once again. This time, his wife, Kelly, tries to slow him down, to which he body slams her into the table, leading her to lay in agony and begin to cry. Kelly tries to make excuses for her oh-so-loving husband, saying that she tripped, but it's abundantly obvious that Wings full-on slammed her into the table. He ain't bitch made, he says, yet he knows that Kelly is the only one he could physically beat up and still feel like a man. He fucked up, and there's no redemption arc for this violent pimp. His desire to not portray himself as a pathetic, self-absorbed, low IQ loser backfired dramatically, exposing Wings as his true self that many detractors already assumed of him.
Don't worry about me. Worry about your wife. Worry about your wife right now.
Whoever put this script up is killing it.
Go work shit out with your wife now, please.
That's not worth it, bro. Just go calm down. She tripped. I know. That's what
We all know.
right there. Look, there's a lot of aggression.
Go work shit out with your wife, please.
Wings further tries to defend himself, saying that big bad boogeyman Keem is actually at fault for him Batista bombing his wife through a table. Expectedly, Boogie runs away like a bitch, never standing by his own words and fearing that another confrontation might remove him from being able to play Candy Crush some more.
I just hate that manipulative shit y'all do.
I had an opinion. If I was wrong about that opinion, I apologize.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's Keem's inability to ever look bad and always wanting to lie that created this friendship. That's it.
I disagree, but...
Keem explains that for the time being, they sent Wings back to his cabin to try and cool down and alleviate some of the tension surrounding the situation. Also, as any good father would do for his child bride, Boogie texts Desi in order to calm her down. Forget standing up and walking 30 feet to physically interact with her. I've got a couch to lounge on so I can keep playing my mobile games and tweeting incessantly.
I'm gonna call him.
You want the seat?
Nah.
All right.
I'm gonna go talk to him.
Give him the Becky treatment. Good.
And Kelly wanted me to, I heard her in the background where I just talked to him. She goes, let everyone know I tripped on the table, so.
They'll spin it otherwise, but.
You got so much talent here. And there's little pieces of like stuff that is, you know, embellished or whatever. But shit like this comes out of nowhere, out of left field.
I just told him, I go, look, stay in your cabin. We're not talking in person anymore today. It's gonna turn into this bullshit. He goes, yeah, we're good. I'll stay here, you know, so. All the girls are crying in the house. Like it's.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to calm Desi down right now. I apologize.
They're literally all crying. Like every girl in there is crying, except for one of the fellow dudes. Zyla gets real.
Billy the Fridge sweeps for Wings by saying that Kelly shouldn't have been standing there trying to stop him. If he was there, he'd have stopped him. But he was there, standing 5 feet away, and did nothing. I don't know about you guys, but I think if my wife, who I allegedly love, was standing there crying, trying to hold me back, my instinctual response wouldn't be to slam her through a coffee table. I don't know, guys. I must be bitch made. I'm not willing to do that to defend my pathetic ego.
But I mean, I was cool by the time he tried it the second time. That's why I just walked away. I was like, Wings ain't catching me. So I just walked away, you know? You know, it would be really dumb to fight someone here. You know, one of us goes to jail. Right. We both look stupid. You know, it's just, in the moment, when you're caught in the moment, like the first time he pushed me, that's different. You know, I was caught in the moment. But I had time to cool down and think about it. So the second time he came, I just walked that way. I was like, nah, bud. You need to go.
I don't want to sweep for Wings, but Kelly shouldn't have been the one in front of him. It should have been somebody bigger. I wish I was in front of him.
Okay.
We didn't get there quick enough.
And, okay.
Nobody was stopping Wings in his anger. She should have stayed out of his way. Not an excuse.
No.
Not an excuse.
In defense of some of the people trying to figure out what to do next, in the moment, the chat can rewind and see everything as it happened. It's easy to right away say to call the cops on him or whatever, but they don't have the full context yet. However, he did just try to start a fight 20 minutes apart from each other. Regardless of him hitting Kelly, Big Boy has to go home.
What Wings is doing right now in his cabin, he's saying, yes, I did fuck up. I did leak that Becky was here before, but I made up for it because I caused all this. I guarantee he's thinking that right now. Yeah. We know him well enough.
He's probably like, yeah, I can even know it. Oh, I just did that for content.
Because, dude, when he refused to go to the haunted houses and stuff, if you guys remember that from last Halloween, dude, he stayed at home. He stayed on Discord. Me and him went to the haunted houses, and he goes, by me not going, I made all the money. You know, like, dude, this is.
He is also on his way to a Whataburger. I had to guess. And I would not blame him. I would like a Whataburger right now.
Well, I told him to stay in his cabin, and I also told Roxy, keep an eye on his truck. If he starts coming this way, let us know. Yeah. Because if he does come over here, call me a bitch, call me whatever, I don't care. I'm walking off site, right? I'm getting away from him, so no more of this happens. There's so much bad that can come from this, and I'm not doing that.
And there's no good.
There's no good. I don't think I need to.
No, it's all over the place.
And ultimately, it's up to Kelly what she wants to do.
Kelly would have to press charges, which she's not going to. You know, it's just one of those things. She's not seriously hurt, thank God.
If he thought he got trolled before, y'all just don't know what he's going to get trolled now. UAV on grid.
We're going to have to think about this long and hard, or we're going to have to take major steps to avoid any of this shit again. Like, really, realistically, Roxy and Becky and Wings at this point should probably go home.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, dude,
you gotta set a precedent.
The difference between Roxy and Becky is we can control that. You know, we were able to get them apart real fast. When it comes to 400-pound Wings, well, you just see, like, there's not. If he's moving forward, nobody can stop him from moving forward.
Ultimately, some amount of level heads do prevail, and Keem and Boogie agree that both Wings and Becky have to leave. They can't be here together. Obviously, Wings will be able to manipulate Kelly into believing that he was actually never wrong, and that she shouldn't have been standing there, and that Keem is actually the devil.
Can't control him then. It's a little different, right? You know. And if I'm gonna send Wings home, then I gotta send Becky home. So that's what we did, and it sucks, but we gotta somehow get back to the good vibes that we had, you know, at the beginning. We drove over to Becky to tell her to leave, right? Because she did lay hands on Roxy and she started it. On the way there, Kelly was walking outside, very upset, crying and whatnot. I talked to, actually Kelly's right here right now.
Yeah.
She just walked here. I talked to Kelly. I told Kelly to tell Wings that just pack up and leave early. I won't punish you, you know, anymore, but just go home because of the hands thing. And I told Kelly that we're also asking Becky to go home. So Kelly went in to talk to Jordy. We went to go talk to Becky, and it was probably the easiest conversation ever because I don't think Becky wants to be here.
Yeah.
So Becky said, okay, I agree. I'll go home. So she changed her flight, and Glammy's currently taking Becky to the airport right now. And then when we came back, Kelly was walking this way. Talked to Kelly, and she said that Wings has no problem with that, so he's leaving as well. So
see, that's a shame, man.
But it's true. They're putting hands on people. They gotta go, right?
Get it.
I should probably go say goodbye to him.
All right, you're welcome for the boring content. I'm just gonna be staring at a truck and a bunch of people.
All right, cool.
Boogie, the pathetic excuse for a human being who was literally at the forefront of the fight, started running defense, saying he didn't see it go down the way the chat is saying it went down. In his defense, making another account on a barely legal escort website or spending his mortgage on Angry Birds can certainly disable your ability to see domestic violence literally right in front of you.
Looked her in the eye, pushed her at full power with an elbow across her upper body, neck area. He then shouted something at her after she hit the deck. She then shielded her face and cried for help from Dan. Stop Boogie.
That's not what I saw, but you know, I was only 3 inches away from it, so maybe you at home saw something different and had better eyes than me.
Look, I've seen the clip. It looks horrible.
Yes, it does. I believe that.
So bad.
I've seen the clip too, and it looks awful.
But
I'm going to stick by what I saw.
I can tell you that Kelly is fine. I've spoken to her multiple times now.
Keep in mind for this next segment that this was less than 4 hours after they had to kick a host off the site for hitting his wife. They continue the stream and get more and more belligerent. Boogie hasn't gotten enough attention for the day, so he throws a tantrum when chat sends donations to get a face tattoo update.
So we only need one more red dono, and we're shaving. You got this, Boogie. You're
We're
the
not
man,
shaving.
Boogie.
It's not happening.
You're the man, Boogie. Do a goatee. Bro, make a lemonade out of lemons. Do a goatee.
No.
Why?
Because we're not shaving. We're not doing anything.
It would be hip.
I won't even do the. I won't even shave for the $200.
You're like
I'm done. I'm done. I'm officially done.
No, you're not done.
I'm officially done.
No, you're not.
They don't have enough money.
You're
We set a f***ing record. We beat the local record. It's
You're
12,009.
talking
That's
shit.
still ain't.
You're supposed to be interacting with TTS.
Hey, you asked for it. I need someone that knows how to zoom that camera. Turn, buddy.
What means here?
Turn your head. It's right there, right?
Do whatever you're gonna do.
Turn it for the camera.
Do whatever the f*** you're gonna do. I ain't participating. Do it here, bitch. Now do it. Do it where my face is. Do it on my f***ing dime. Do it on my f***ing time.
You're gonna cut up my throat next too?
No! I'm just gonna pick it off my face again, you dumb mother. I'm just gonna pick it off my face again, you dumb motherfucker. I'm gonna pick it off my face again.
You picked the tattoo to make it fade. It's time to face the music.
And I'll do it again! Cause I did one on my face!
Just chill out. Fine, don't do it then. I don't care. Rest.
Let the moral grandstanding begin. Keem says Wings is fired, but they'll reevaluate in 3 months to see if he has changed. Keem allowed a dude who faked cancer and scammed his audience for money to help pay for his expenses return to the show immediately. You really think that this incident will keep Wings off the show? They're already walking it back right now, and he'll be back on the show within a month would be my guess. There's no bridge too far, there's no line you can't cross. Any amount of degenerate, low-life behavior will be gladly bankrolled by Keemstar himself.
So initially we were talking about suspending Jordy for like 90 days with a potential path to come back. We're at a point now where I don't know if there is a path back. So as of right now, he's fired off of Locale Live. You know, me and Boogie came up with a pretty good plan to help Jordy. Jordy asked us for help, and we agreed we would help him. So we were in the process of like, okay, let's get him in counseling. Let's do stuff with him and Kelly's, how he talks to her, how he treats her, not wanting to celebrate her birthday. Like, just like, it's some pretty gross stuff outside of anything physical. Which I feel like we've made some progress in improving some of that. You know, let's say 3 months down the road, like, because initially the plan is he would not be able to return to Locale Live until July 1st, which is 90 days down the road, right? And we were going to make him do extensive, like, fixing himself. I'm still open to that,
yes,
right? Yes. But, like, right now, like, bro, he's got to be fired. Like, we have to separate ourselves from this. We've seen a video that you guys haven't seen
Keep in mind that the double standard that these two present is outrageous. Boogie has a million shameful acts and displays towards women. Did we all forget to him admitting that he would shout in his wife's face, telling her that he wished that she was dead?
Was me and my wife's relationship perfect? No. Did we argue from time to time? Yes. I think most couples do. Did I ever stand and scream in her face about, tell her I wish she was dead, or, I don't know.
Or maybe how he went on a 2-year, barely legal escort barrage, culminating into him selecting an emotionally vulnerable girl, Desi, who coincidentally looks exactly like his ex-wife, to leave her family support system to live with him so that he could deflower her. How about that? The reason these two won't excommunicate a reprehensible person is because they themselves fall into the same boat. So any punishment will make them look like hypocrites by affiliation.
There's no one here that messes around with that, men laying hands on females. It's just the Twiggy clip, it's nothing major. He didn't give Kelly a black eye, but it's still clearly he hit her, he hit her arm and grabbed it like that, enough where she's rubbing it because it hurts. And it's like, we did talk to Kelly and she was like, the only 2 times he ever laid a hand on me is that and then the table incident. And we're
That's
like,
a lie.
Like, come on, bro.
There's no way that's the only 2 times. That's the only 2 times that somebody else seen it. That's not the only 2 times.
No.
You all are in the wrong. You should have apologized to the viewers for the incident and ended the stream. You all laughed and joked like nothing happened, made money for another 10 hours. Not good.
We actually made a record amount of money for another 10 hours, just to be clear.
And we were very funny in the rest of that stream.
It's just sad. It's like one of these things that cannot be forgiven. It's like...
So is this firing permanent, or I heard you say something about 90 days?
Well, we promised Wayne's, me and Boogie both, that we would help him. So we're going to try to get him in therapy. We're going to try to do stuff. I mean, I don't see him doing it, but maybe there is.
Start with him.
Look, I would never want to fully close the door if he fixes all this shit.
Yeah. They show off the other clip of Wings grabbing his wife's arm, which wasn't the craziest thing in the world, but most people would never think to respond to her in that situation.
Happening, right? All right. When you start seeing it go up, now you go.
When you made it so far.
Stop. Stop. Yep, there you go.
Oh my God.
I'm leaving off Fat Camp after the Tuesday show. Who knows, maybe Plum Pimp himself will make a return, but I've covered what I deemed important, showcasing the lies, fights, and firings of Fat Camp. Let me know what you think, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Disneyville 25 Super Jet $19 and 99 cents. Roxy BlueSky Music.
Michael, understand? Michael, understand.
Look, listen.
Look, listen. I'm a Pepsi fan. Actions have consequences, Pam. You guys still see my...
333 Vader wants to know, how do you guys always keep positive, especially when any hate is thrown your way?
Because at the end, some of the people that edit these videos of these reaction videos, or the downfall of Shane Gillis or Andrew Schultz or Brendan Schaub, it's like, buddy, clearly you have editing skills. If you just focus on it, you'd have a career, dude. Like if you did something creative where you weren't just giving an opinion on somebody else's talent, like dude, you can do this, man. I'd like to they're more skilled than I do.
Yeah. I think part of it is also, I just was thinking about this the other day.
It's D-Day for our boy Brendan Schaub because his buddy Brian Callen has officially left the building and headed for greener pastures in Austin, Texas, leaving Buffer behind to figure some things out.
What's up, guys? As you might know, we are in the process of moving this entire operation of the Firing the Kid to Austin, Texas. Now with that, Brian decided to move way too early. I get out there, I'm right behind him, but Brian just moved way too early. So our schedules are a little here and there. And if we can't make it in studio both at the same time, we gotta bang some episodes, or we gotta give you a best of, like this is what we're doing now. So we appreciate you guys. We're gonna do our best to give you real episodes. We're gonna get it done for the most part, but every now and then, we gotta give you the best of. So enjoy the best of Fighter and the Kid. Thank you for understanding.
And so, in the spirit of banking episodes, The Fighter and the Kid released a question and answer podcast earlier in the week, while Brendan runs around getting his house ready for yet another open house this weekend. But the irony of doing a Q&A session reflecting on their careers and still not realizing that it's Brendan's own attitude and actions that led to their downfall and not the external factors that he's still continuing to blame is actually crazy. This whole episode was filled with the most dogshit excuses, including I got given the wrong information, I trusted the wrong people, I was going through a rough patch, and at one point he even justified his actions with the classic line, "Who cares?" Mind you, this was all in relation to when Brendan and Brian falsely confused Bobby Lee of trying to sabotage Brendan's life in retaliation for Brendan trying to smash Bobby's girlfriend at the time, Kalila Kuhn, and walk one of her friends back to his truck after bombing on stage. And so I've dissected and decoded this train wreck of an episode using my advanced editing skills in the hope of gaining employment at Thick Boy Studios as an unpaid intern. So if you've been following their move to Texas on this channel, you may recall my theory that Brian Callen will be the net beneficiary of the move because it will bring him closer to Rogan and he won't have to hit the road doing comedy now that he'll be able to join the top 250 assassins in the mothership green room. I also floated the idea that Brendan will attempt to resurrect his comedy career in Texas as well. However, according to the man himself, he's put the mic down for good. I'm not gonna lie, when I heard his justification for not making a comeback, I literally could not believe my ears.
Colin Sr. wants to know, Brendan, do you ever think you'll go back to comedy?
I get this all the time. I can't picture a world where I would have time to do it. There's a few factors that go into it. A, like in order to get good at stand-up, the amount of time that you have to spend doing it, like Monday through Sunday. Like you gotta realize, like when you guys saw me do comedy, Brian's been doing it for 30 years, Rogan's been doing it for 30, and Theo's been doing it for 25, Shane Gill's been doing it for 20, Schultz 20, Santino 20. So I'm behind the 8 ball. So not only just to even touch the tip of the iceberg, I have to do so much work just to get even at any level, and I just don't have the time.
You also don't miss it.
I miss the hang. Sometimes I'll miss certain things about it, but overall I don't miss it.
Yeah.
And then I would miss my kids' sports. It's just not worth it.
Okay.
And I don't miss the travel. That was the worst part of stand-up. And the late nights. I get in bed by 8:30. I've never been healthier, never been happier. It just doesn't make sense for me. I'll do live Fighter and the Kids every now and then, but not if you made me commit to it like once a week. I would hate that.
Fuck me dead. All right, first things first. The Shane Gillis cope from all these guys is funny as hell. If he started comedy 20 years ago, that would mean he just turned 16 years old when he started. Brendan started doing comedy shortly after he retired from MMA, which was only a couple of years after Shane started. So technically, if Schaub had stuck with it, he'd basically be a 10-year guy by now. Instead, he dropped his first comedy special through Showtime barely a few years into his so-called comedy career, which was one of the first steps in making everyone hate him. I'll come back to this a little bit later on in the video when Brendan explains the 2 things he thinks ruined the Fighter and the Kid podcast. But to hear him finally realize what literally everyone has been saying for the last 10 years about how he sucks at comedy and needed to take a step back and actually put in the time and effort required to actually become half decent is one of the most Brendan Schaub things ever. Talk about being late to the party. Fuck my life, what a redact. But like you saw in the intro, our boy Bappa isn't such a big fan of channels like this one. Not because we document his lies and stupidity, but because we're wasting talent.
333 Vader wants to know, how do you guys always keep positive, especially when any hate is thrown your way?
because at the end of the day, when hate's thrown our way, I always laugh at this. I'm like, you know what I do all day? And this is all I've ever done, I spend all day trying to figure out ways to make people laugh. And then I do a podcast. I don't know what I'm doing that's causing, like, if you hate me, I don't know what to tell you.
You know, what are we supposed to? Like, what are we supposed to do?
You hate us?
Also, name somebody that's not, like, anybody that, and we're not celebrities, but, like, anyone doing anything of note, like, hate's just what you sign up for. I don't know too many people that, like, just focus on that. If all we did is focus on that, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I don't read comments, good or bad. That's the thing. I never, good comments, bad comments, I don't read because they give you the same power. If you put weight in that, you can't win with the internet.
I just come to the territory.
And sometimes people are just fucking with you anyway. Sometimes it's fun to hate on somebody. Sometimes it's fun to kick somebody around.
It's such a waste of time, though. It's just such a waste. Like some of the people that edit these videos of these reaction videos, or the downfall of Shane Gillis or Andrew Schultz or Brendan Schaub. It's like, buddy, clearly you have editing skills. If you just focus on it, you'd have a career, dude. Like if you did something creative where you weren't just giving an opinion on somebody else's talent, like, dude, you could do this, man.
I'd like them to work.
They have more skill than I do.
I'll hire you.
You just come to the territory. It's just the culture we live in,
I think part of also when you get older, too, is you look back and, man, you get it wrong a lot more than you get it right. You fail a lot more than you succeed.
But one of the reasons, like, we start a podcast, like, both of us have a lot of opinions.
Brendan shitting on reaction channels for making a career out of commenting on someone else's talent when he literally has a whole podcast dedicated to giving dog shit takes on the MMA world is peak irony even for your boy. But the best part for me is how Brendan tries to normalize the hate that he gets as simply it comes with the territory. Bro has a subreddit dedicated to exposing his every move with almost 170,000 homeless cats. It's literally in the top 1% of subreddits. No one else is dealing with that shit but him. And this is the trend with this guy. He complains about people creating false narratives about his life, when the reality is he sits there every day running his bush mouth, spouting the most bullshit takes about everything and anything, constantly lying through his teeth about things that are easily verifiable, and then blames everyone around him when he gets called out for it. And credit to Brian Callen for leaning into a lot of the hate that they get and acknowledging that some of it's actually funny, instead of just denying and deflecting like Brendan does. But when it comes to hypocrisy, Brian and Brendan are just as bad as each other.
Some hate is good to listen to because it can actually listen to it. It's a good criticism. I've had people criticize me where I was like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll get people like, Schaub, this is the way I do it. They're like, Schaub, love ya. Quit interrupting Brian. I'm like, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, some guy said to me, he goes, I was on Rogan a long time ago. He goes, hey, dude, you get on there and all you do is try to show us how smart you are and how many books you've read. I was like, you know what? You might be 100% right on that.
Hey, Brian, that was me.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah.
You trolled me, motherfucker. So there's a lot of that, too. It's like, are you getting on there to promote something, or you get on there to show off?
No, it's just a hang. Like, I like, even when you got to promote a special, Bubba, if you're just yourself, which everyone loves, you don't have to promote anything.
Yeah.
People go, and then at the end you have a special, like, God, Brian was great on there. I'll check out a special.
Yeah.
You don't have to. Yeah. When I can't stand when people come on this show, Rogan, who have Schultz, Theo, and have an agenda. We can smell it a mile away.
I told you this. Whenever I have to go on and people like, you got to promote your stuff on Rogan.
I hate when you do that.
I had this. I hate it so much. I hate promoting. We had an evacuation order. I looked at her and I go, I got to go to Joe's podcast and then shoot my special at the mothership, but I feel guilty about leaving you here. And she goes, what are you going to do? You can't change a tire. I got this. I was like, all right, see you later. Raise my kids, save them. Tell my story. I'll be in Austin. Sorry about the fires.
Tell them to watch your special. Tell all the kids in school to watch Daddy's special.
They watch Daddy's special. It's going to be good. False gods. I'm excited.
Are you going to put it on YouTube?
Yeah,
that's the move.
Yeah, I think so, right?
YouTube's the move because you get the most views for sure.
It's not me.
But
so
when you
then I do it, then I go. And here's the thing about Here's the thing about my dates.
It's the worst. It's the worst thing you do.
I know.
I hate when you do that.
That's why I don't do it anymore.
I told you I'm a B.
It was such a relief when you said that.
I go, B. All you got to be is yourself. We all love you, and then people will You don't have to tell me
Because I'm
anything.
thinking about when to put in this promotion.
Instead of being yourself.
I'm being told I'm bad at it, so I'm like, now I gotta get good at it. And then when you said that, I go, I don't want to be on Rogan promoting anything. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to hang. So I'm gonna shoot the special and I'm gonna throw it away, and I gotta start again.
Yeah.
And just because I've done 5 specials doesn't mean it's gonna be easier.
9-second quarter mile right from the factory, mother.
A 9
That's what you need. That's what you need, Cal.
Dude, it's very
Where your special kicks it and you start selling out giant theaters.
Dude, let's go, baby.
Let's get a little in your life.
That's
You
what I'll
run
buy
away
myself.
from looters.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I just don't.
That's
It
when you're
always
at your
feels
best.
so unnatural.
Yeah, that's when you're at
and
your best.
another thing about me, f off. I don't want to go see me when I do that.
It's just not you. So when you do it, it's over.
Yeah, I'm just not going to do it.
You don't do it anymore.
No, I can't. It's such a relief. Okay. I'd rather be poor.
Again, our boy Bupper with the truckloads of copium when it comes to comedy special talk. If he has something to promote, which he doesn't, he'd be the first one to blurt it out on JRE for the world to hear. But when it comes to his buddy Brian, it's just fucking cringe. And it honestly drives me nuts that Brian has to self-publish his comedy special on YouTube because no streamers will touch him after the allegations. Not even our boy Rogan could broker a deal with Netflix for him. That's how fucking toxic he is. On a quick side note, there's nothing more American than Joe Rogan propped up on his booster seat in his Corvette, hitting 9-second quarter miles under the Texan sun. How does he reach the pedals though? Anyway, the Bobby Lee situation came up yet again, and if you ask me now what Brendan's biggest talent is, I'd definitely say his ability to butcher a narrative into the ground so badly that it's barely recognizable. I honestly have no idea what he's trying to say here, and after all that's been said and done about this, Bupper really needs to take the cue from Brian and go with his narrative instead.
Here's another question from the same person. Do you guys think you'll ever fix the relationship with Bobby Lee, and who gave you the info about Tiger Belly that caused all the mess?
Look, Bobby Lee and I on text have fixed that relationship. We will, I think you'll see us together in something, in the future. And yeah, I've apologized and taken full accountability. I love him. He's a great guy. I won't go into the Tiger Belly stuff, but it's over. It's over. It's done. It was a huge mistake, and he's our boy. I love the guy. I think he's really funny. I don't make any excuses. I never have. I apologize right away several times, and I throw myself in the mercy of the court.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where I would see Bobby. I'd be cool. I have no animosity towards him. I don't care. I think he's hilarious. He's so talented, but, I'm sure he feels the same way. It's like, my life doesn't get better if me and him are friends. Neither does his. So, all good. All good.
Well,
I think he's a great guy.
Yeah, I've always...
We were never that close here. You came up with him at the Comedy Store. Yeah. I was never that close with him. I've always appreciated him. He's such a talent. He does great podcasting and stand-up.
Look, man, I was wrong. I was wrong. I think that putting him in the mix in that mix was wrong, 100% wrong. And I was working on bad information, and I take full responsibility. I don't even blame the information I got. I take full responsibility for that.
I blame the information we got.
That's for me. I always say it was the way I spoke to him. He was always my friend. Always somebody I cared about. Didn't deserve any of that at all, not even a little bit. And I've not made a lot of mistakes in my life, but when I make mistakes, I've always accounted for them. And I believe a man should say, I was wrong, I f***ed up, huge learning experience, no excuses. And I had a bad moment, and I was in a bad way. I was personally and emotionally in a bad way, man. I was in a dark place.
Yeah, there was bad timing. Then also, I should have had in hindsight been like, what are we doing? No, we shouldn't do this. Like, we just weren't thinking. I had a million things going on. Like,
it was so dumb.
Whether he was or wasn't behind it, which we don't think he was.
Somebody that we cared about, who was a good person, who had nothing to do with it in the middle of it, was outrageous. And that's my mea culpa.
But like, if it happened now, like, we're in such a better spot. If someone would have came to us with that same information, I'm like, get the f*** out of here. was a weird time. We were so stupid. Yeah, so stupid.
But I think you'll
Who
see.
cares?
I think you'll
So
see us,
stupid.
certainly me and Bobby, in the future. And I love him.
Yeah, I don't know what me and Bobby would do. You know, it's not like Donnie.
So you guys can roll. Whatever.
So when Brian says, who cares, I think he means that's how he should have approached the whole situation way back when it happened. As in, when he was presented with the fake 300 pages of evidence that Bobby Lee was behind the fighter and the kid subreddit, he should have just said, who cares, instead of threatening violence against Bobby Lee over phone and text. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? The whole point is that you didn't say who cares, and you effectively intimidated and threatened a little Asian boy for absolutely no reason. And then he'll completely contradict himself in the same breath by saying, I still blame the information, not the way I reacted. So which one is it? Do you regret your behavior at the time, or do you regret being so naive as to be duped by fake evidence? Fuck me dead, now I'm falsely confused. But the icing on the cake is Brendan's answer to this next question. This perfectly encapsulates why Brendan is where he is today, and why he'll never claw his way back into being the famous comedy podcaster that he always wanted to be. The delusion is strong in this one.
Martino77 wants to know, what's one thing you would both do differently if you had to start this podcast over again?
Not the Bobby Lee stuff and listen to people. But as far as do things different, I think when Brian was going off through his him taking a leave of absence was a bad idea. And me just doing the show with random people, I think that was a bad idea. I think we should have, granted we need the money at the time, I think we should have put our foot down. Now, in 2025, you can do that. Everyone's like championing you, right? Like, you'll see guys that get accused of bullshit, and everyone's like, oh, we don't believe it. But back in 2019, when we were going through it, and I was like, B, what do you want to do? And the only way to get money was for Brian to take a leave of absence. I think it ruined the show. Yeah. I think that, along with the Bobby Lee stuff, ruined the show. Now, I do think there's a place for us to come back, whatever that means, you know, but I would do this show for free. I love seeing Brian. I love you guys. I would do it for free.
Yeah.
Brian?
Same thing.
Love that.
I think you said it well.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, when the allegations against Brian Callen from 4 different women came out in 2020 in that LA Times article, Brendan was supposedly forced to take Brian off air because otherwise advertisers weren't going to do business with him. It was a classic Me Too cancellation. And here we have Mr. Anti-Woke Anti-Cancellation openly admitting that he cancelled his own best friend for money because apparently he needed it at the time. Mind you, this was back when Brendan had one of the most successful podcasts in the world with Theo Von, getting millions of views an episode. The fake virtue signaling to his audience that he always sticks by his buddies and never gives in to cancellation is so fucking hypocritical. But the elephant in the room is that Brendan doesn't realize the real reason why the fighter and the kid fell off is because of him. Remember earlier on how he gave us those words of wisdom about how a return to comedy would be too late? It requires too much hard work, and he's too fucking lazy to make a comeback at this point. The part he left out was that not only did he do everything too quickly and rely on his MMA fame and friendship with Joe Rogan to get his Showtime deal, but he was extremely fucking arrogant the whole time. That's what he still refuses to admit to this day. His whole attitude back then was so toxic that you can see it just by looking at photos. And it wasn't just his attitude. He actually hit back at his critics at the time, pointing out that he's rich, successful, and good looking, and they're not. Imagine trying to become a comedian and going full Karen on your audience, and then 15 years later admitting that you needed to put in the hard work to make it in comedy, and you're just not prepared to do that. And that's not the only reason. His podcasts are so lazy and boring now that he just got left behind. Thanks to Papa Rogan, Brendan was an early adopter of the podcasting format and got in while it was growing exponentially. There wasn't anywhere near the amount of competition there is nowadays back then when he was getting the big view counts. But he didn't do anything with it. When Theo Von left to do his own things and figure some things out, Brendan used to make fun of him. Instead, he chose to hang out with sex pests and go down down with the podcast. So his whole narrative of blaming everyone around him for feeding him false information and Brian leaving the podcast for a period of time in 2020 as the only two reasons why the podcast is ruined simply isn't the full picture. The real reason is him. And so now that Brian's officially gone to Texas, things are about to get really interesting. I stand by my prediction that once Brian gets settled at the mothership and builds a following down there, he'll start bringing home the cash, etc., etc. He will then leave the fighter and the kid. Brendan's already announced he's leaving Golden Hour. They're staying behind in LA, so once Brian's gone, he'll have 2 short shows that nobody watches and no comedy career because it's too hard. All that will be left is Bupper, the truck guy. What a fucking dumbass. Anyway, remember to check out the link in the description to my Patreon if you want to see my full review of Bert and Schultz's comedy specials. There's a bunch of other exclusive content on there as well, so check that out if you're interested. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe to my channel right here on YouTube and hit the like button while you're here. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.
When or if will we ever see Theo back on the pod? What is your current relationship with him now?
I talked to Theo yesterday. He posted happy birthday. Theo's doing his thing, man.
Busy.
He's swamped, yeah.
Busy.
You know when you meet someone and they swear that all of their exes were psychos, and then you slowly realize that, oh, wait, I'm talking to the person who was the problem in the relationship? Unrelatedly, the Young Turks. And I'm gonna make this as brief as possible because there are a million far more important and pressing things going on right now. As you know, actual fascism. But to make it brief, Cenk Uygur, the head of TYT, recently hath forbidden me from appearing on any TYT shows because, in part, I said that him capitulating to right-wing framing on many issues meant he was, quote, acting like a bitch. And the truth is, he was. And I'll explain that a little bit later. But first, some backstory. So I have been a contractor at TYT for 10 years now, appearing on all of the shows as a fill-in host, as a guest host during election coverage, on the TYT main show, on the Damage Report, and on Indisputable, along with a lot of other shows. I have always hopped on at the last minute, always helped out in a pinch. I guest host last minute, and yes, I was paid. And if you're watching this and you are a TYT contributor and you are not getting paid, stop going on TYT until you do. I've never been a full-time employee, never got healthcare, never got maternity leave when I had my child. But back in 2018, I was hired for a 6-month contract to pilot a show for $3,000 a month. Then, however, their funding bottomed out and I was let go. And they broke their contract. My reps at the time thought I should sue to get the full 6 months of payment and work that I was owed, but I didn't because I told them that TYT was good people and I wanted to maintain my relationship, and I did. That is until things started to turn for TYT politically. And this started happening around the pandemic. Around the pandemic, Anna Kasparian seemed to become focused on the issue of homelessness, especially in a city that I used to call home, which is San Francisco. She had an objectively scary experience with an unhoused person, and in fact, I went back to see when she told her audience about this. And I do remember the day that Anna told the story on air. In fact, I was also on after she told that story, but I didn't hear it at the time. It was within an interview that she was doing with an author by the name of Michael Schellenberger, who had written the book San Francisco, Why Progressives Are Ruining Cities. Instead of focusing on housing market prices, on how homelessness often leads to things like addiction and mental illness, Schellenberger focuses on Democrats who thinks go too easy on the unhoused. I remember that I jumped onto the show right after he got off, after that interview, and the TYT audience was really pissed because they felt like the framing and the platforming of someone like Schellenberger was a disservice to the issue of homelessness, mental illness, and addiction. Anna apparently took that as the chat downplaying what happened to her rather than how the issues were presented. She's since gone on right-wing shows like Glenn Beck, Piers Morgan, and Jillian Michaels, among others, to retell this story and use it as rationale for why she feels The left left her, that maybe she's never been left, why she's politically homeless, or, sorry, politically unhoused. Since then, she's gone on to cover critical stories from a right-wing framing, like the alleged takeovers of buildings by Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado, like the mentally ill, undocumented man in Los Angeles, who was found lighting fires, but who was not responsible for the wildfires themselves in January. Throwing progressive mayors like Brandon Johnson of Chicago under the bus because he listens to teachers too much. Anna's actually really skilled at what she does, so the laziness with which she treats these stories really just stands out all the more. Let me give you some backstory, though, of Anna and my friendship. We've never been close, despite a hike, a dinner, and the time that she generously gave me a gift for my new baby, and then explained to me that she was going to debate Ben Shapiro because, in her words, she, quote, felt she could win over his audience. Two moments with Anna stand out for me in terms of how I've always treated her. In 2016, I was working with AJ Plus, and we were at the RNC. I had just started going on TYT a little bit and meeting everyone. And TYT was there, and Anna was there, and she was frustrated because she hadn't been booked on many appearances on camera, and instead, a panel of men mostly clogged up the day. I stood next to her and told her how annoying that was, and just tried to build her up in solidarity. Then in 2019, we went out to lunch in Los Angeles at an awesome spot that she knew of. And Anna confided to me that she was frustrated about leadership at TYT. How she wasn't involved in day-to-day decision-making, and how Cenk viewed her more as a kid sister rather than a co-equal partner. And at the time, she wanted to branch out on her own and do videos on a new channel. I implored her at that moment to stay. I said that it's always women that tend to walk away from organizations, even when they've helped build them up to the point that they're at. I told her to fight for more of a decision-making role and to not walk away. And she did. And it looks like the editorial decisions that we see being made at TYT are in part because she now has the reins. In a way, I'm proud of her, even if I don't like the coverage. In November of last year, in an effort to understand where Anna was coming from and why she was doing what she was doing, I invited her to come on my show, The Bituation Room. She agreed, but also told me that she had a family emergency that sounded bad, and I told her to not worry and that we would find a time in the new year. That week, she went on Glenn Beck's show, and it kind of puzzled me, to be honest. She obviously now is likely not going to come on my show, in part because Cenk did. And I wanted to talk to him about his own very cordial conversations with the right since the election or re-election of Donald Trump, in which he tells various figures, from Charlie Kirk to Patrick Bet-David to Tim Pool to RFK Jr. lover, again, Jillian Michaels, about how he agrees that the left is often cruel and too extreme, saying that at a time where people are literally being disappeared for their political beliefs by this right-wing agenda. Anyone can watch the discussion. I put it in the link below, and it's honestly just a really disturbing portrait of his very with me or against me mentality. I even foreshadowed in the video the idea that he would boot me from TYT one day, and he did. It was also staggering how much he was shadowboxing with me as some kind of stand-in for the max left that has lost their minds. In that video, he laughed at me for suggesting that Trump would create detention camps. After the discussion in December, TYT main show never asked me back on. And then when I made a harmless little video pointing out that yes, there are detention camps, that seemed to be one of the final straws. Personally, Cenk and I were never close. In 2022, I think we went out to lunch and he asked me if I wanted to work with TYT full-time. And it gave me pause. Look, I work with a number of outlets. I am a stand-up comedian. I value my free time, and I have my own show. I wanted time to do those things, but also I pay through the nose for things like healthcare, and a little bit of job stability would be amazing. I also know how hard the company works people who work there, and I know how it treated the union drive. I also know how much they deny full-time employees bonuses every year, even when they're delivering millions of views. I know that they're kind of cheap, and Cenk usually doesn't like it when people negotiate with him. So I said, sure, I want to work for TYT full-time, but it depends on the offer, which, by the way, you should always ask for an offer before you pledge loyalty to anyone or any company. An offer never came, because in my view, loyalty wasn't a given. All this to say, I'm not sad to leave TYT behind, especially now. with, of course, the exception of the damage report with John Idarola, who I care about and I think is so talented. But we live in a time of right-wing monsters, authoritarians, and yes, fascists. And anyone capitulating to their framework about human rights, about policing, around militarism, is not serious about liberation or democracy. Please, never watch anyone who can't admit when they're wrong. Never watch anyone who tells you that their strategy is right and that they are the way, the truth, the light. Never listen to anyone who doesn't have a sense of humor when they are acting like a bitch. I am one person with a scrappy YouTube channel who pieces together my annual living. I have a fraction of the following of TYT, which is a $1 million media company. The idea that they choose to focus on me or other leftist creators in their field is honestly really disheartening and very revealing. Look, I wish the best for the people of TYT, but as for the main hosts, I kind of just wish them peace, because it's been a long, long road with many skeletons in many closets. And honestly, I don't think they know where that road is going. And it's going to be really sad when they respond to this video or try to smear me as if there weren't so many other pressing things to talk about. But I just had to get it off my chest, explain to you what's going on, and tell you that I am the host of the Bitchuation Room podcast and also America Unhinged on Zateo. And you can also catch me doing live comedy, hopefully in a city near you. Until then, later.
Hostiles have a field upgrade. Eyes on field upgrade.
It's 5 in a row. Hostile shooter. 5 down.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a number of things to say about this relationship. You know, in terms of John, I think it says a lot that he does not feel comfortable saying that this is my show and I would like to book who I book. I've got over 1 million subscribers and many, many members.
Dragon
I make
Squad,
you a lot of money.
bitchin'.
The least you can do
Turn the shit
is allow me
around.
this. I'm sorry
Idarola.
that your Fifi's got hurt, but this is what it is. And it takes some guts to do that. And I think it says a lot that he doesn't feel like he can. And it sucks. It's not what I would do.
The Vanguard will be there.
And then obviously the banning of other shows. I've got a great relationship with John, or at least I thought I did. And I had a great relationship, you know, with Dr. Ritchie.
Yeah, to drill more into that, you know, when it comes to the damage report, obviously, I think you kind of realized that your time was mostly up at the Young Turks main show. You know, you're kind of persona non grata in the Poly Market studio. But I do think a lot of people that are fans of the damage report really loved your presence on that show, and they were able to kind of delineate. You know, they were like, whatever I think of Jake and Anna, I can still, you know, tolerate hearing Francesca on the damage report because it's its own thing. Jake and Anna aren't there. John clearly has his own opinions.
Well, they don't even watch the main show. I'm just saying,
a lot of people don't. Yeah,
they just don't.
A lot of people.
They're different audiences.
For sure. And were you hoping that you could kind of maintain that relationship with the damage report and with John Idarola, even though your relationship with Jake and Anna had completely deteriorated, or did you kind of know that this was happening? Were you kind of almost hoping, in a sense, that this would happen, daring Jake to?
No, I was not daring Jake at all. I really love going on the damage report, but I knew that maybe I was on borrowed time, and you know, it is because I kept kind of kicking the hornet's nest that I think I knew that time was even slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. And it is a weird position. I thought about, you know, well, what if I go on the damage report for free? I don't, you know, ask for, you know, to be compensated for my time. And, you know, on a lot of these matters, I'll talk to Matt, my husband, because he's, I think, just more versed in the internet and just what to do and shit. He's, you know. And he was like, nah, that's dumb. Like, no, you should get compensated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's work.
Exactly. It's work, get compensated. And it's true, you know, there's other things I could be doing. And so, but I'm not going to lie and say it's not awkward to be like, okay, well, I'm taking money from y'all. But also, if you think about it, and I think we do need to think about our work in general, you're producing things for somebody else. You are making money for somebody else. John Idarola is making so much money for TYT. And I have been on that show every single week for 4 years now. And look, ask the fans, man. They like me on there. I'm not trying to get all up in my own shit, but like, they like me on there. And I like to think that I helped build up the damage report. Yeah, exactly. So
this is all under the damage report, and it goes on and on and on. And I'm not kidding, Francesca. There are probably 150 people that went on there to leave a comment about that. And it's a post on the YouTube channel. It's not even a video. It's just people want to have a place to voice their grievances that you are not going to be back on the damage report. Because at that point, you're almost like you are a fixture of the show, right? It's like if you're watching a show and a character that you like gets killed off, everybody's like, what the fuck? Like, I want that person to come back, except you're still alive. You're still perfectly healthy from what I can tell. You know, you're still perfectly capable of doing the job. It's not disrupting the narrative. And yet, you know, you're no longer obviously going to be back on the damage report.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a number of things to say about this relationship. You know, in terms of John, I think it says a lot that he does not feel comfortable saying that this is my show and I would like to book who I book. I've got over 1 million subscribers.
One reason.
And many, many members. I make you a lot of money. The least you can do is allow me this. I'm sorry that your Fifi's got hurt, but this is what it is. And it takes some guts to do that. And I think it says a lot that he doesn't feel like he can.
He's got no guts.
And it sucks. It's not what I would do. And so, needless to say, there is a strain there. I also want to say that John's politics, John just has some of the best politics of anyone I've ever met. In terms of his intellect, in terms of understanding, you know, sort of political nuances, strategy, but also in terms of having a very justice-centered analysis when it comes to women, people of color, queer people. John does it all. John is insanely talented, and he could, although I don't think he believes he could, very easily get a job somewhere else, if not go out on his own. His politics are light years better than Cenk and Anna's. They would hate to think that, but they are. John is maybe not as confrontational as they are, but you know, there's only so much spitting at a camera will get you. So that is, I think that needs to be said. The other thing that needs to be said is during some of my disagreements with Cenk on air, and when I say some, I mean one, because Cenk, I was rarely on with Cenk, especially like in the last year or so. And I was rarely on, I was never on with Anna. During the pandemic, I would do like Wednesday afternoons with her. That was less and less and less. And so when I was on, you know, with Cenk and we were talking about Imani Khalif, obviously the boxer, Algerian boxer who won, was attacked for being a man.
That was when you came on our show's radar in a big way, because that was awesome.
Yeah, man. And I was prepped for that. I was like ready. I was like, I'm excited to talk about this. And, you know, we sort of all kind of had it out. And I think it was either around then or before that, around that time, Cenk and I had a private conversation. And I was like, yo, you know what? Why don't we just have a debate on the main show? It would be so good. You and Anna can be there. John and I can be there. We can sort of like show the audience that you really do allow for debate, and everyone's coming at this from a different angle. And audience members are going to agree with you. They're going to agree with Anna. They're going to, you know, and you'll show that you sort of like allow that on the platform. He's like, no, that's a good idea. Never happened. Never happened. Right? And so actually I think that transgender debate happened after I asked him if he would just have this debate with a, you know, not even a debate, just discussion, friendly discussion on the main show. He never did. Again, this is a guy who will let Ben Glebe run his genocidal mouth for 40 minutes about how sometimes you gotta bomb a hospital. Like, and that's fine. That's fine, but I can't, you know, say my piece. So I think that's also, there is a paternalism with which they treat, yeah, Brianna Wu, like, you want me to get her started? There's a paternalism, I think, with which they treat John, and a paternalism with which they treat Dissent. And let's be real, they've got thin skin. That's just it. Thin skin. I do want to get back to Gavin's question whenever, but I'm, you know, happy to shut up.
Yeah, well, I'm interested in that, but I think you're totally right about that. It really just comes down to their pettiness, because I think Jake specifically, he knows, like, he goes on Piers Morgan all the time. He knows that there's a real appeal to having a real emotional debate, hashing out a disagreement live on air with someone, you know, that's been a long time part of the TYT family. It really does blow my mind the way he's handled this whole situation, really by not leaning in to the controversy and disagreements and drama, but kind of just trying to punish anyone who steps out of line, even after saying, oh yeah, we welcome disagreement. We welcome.
Well, I think he's embarrassed. I mean,
yeah.
Just, there are many issues here, so I don't want to get like, I don't want to get it twisted. The biggest issue is Cenk wants to have beers with Dr. Phil. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's number one. Yeah. He wants to make it about like trans athletes, that somehow that's my only issue, that's all I talk about, right? But I actually think he's embarrassed. Like, I think he is too embarrassed to have someone, I'm not trans, like, get a trans person on, for the love of God. But like, right, exactly. And you're just like, and I'm sorry, but like, look at the creators who've left. Any trans creator, women of color, specifically people of color, Ben Dixon, Mondale Robinson. And then, I'm not gonna name names, but think through, who are the people who've slowly kind of not been around? Is that a woman? Is that a woman of color? Is that a black woman?
Also, regardless of their, you know, ethnicity or race or whatever, the people that are consistently appearing on the Young Turks these days, like, they're really just teleprompter readers. Let's be honest. I don't even know their names. It's like these people that don't have a show, they don't have an independent following, they don't have an independent voice, or really even an ideology. They're basically just there to read the teleprompter and support Cenk or Anna without ever pushing back. And that's the people that they've replaced you with. That's the people they've replaced, you know, the other.
I love and I support them, and I support them getting their, you know, getting compensated for that work.
But it makes for a really boring show. It makes for a really boring show when you just watch and there's no friction. And, you know, even back in the day, not that I think basically anything about him or his ideology is aged well at all, but I remember back in the day in 2015 when Cenk and Jimmy Dore would fight on the panel. You know, they would have discussions about third parties or whatever, and they would get into it, like they would actually argue. And it was literally my favorite part of the show at the time. That was when I first started tuning into TYT. I actually really enjoyed that element where it was like, oh yeah, these people, it feels like a family. It feels like, you know, everyone's on this mission together, but they're also able to turn around and yell at each other and say, you're fucking wrong, and you're, you know, this is stupid. And like, they didn't hold back at all. And I really loved that. It was what brought me to the network in the first place and made me a fan, in addition to the progressive ideology. Obviously, Jimmy Dore's completely gone off a deep end, but the point is, it's like now, 10 years later, the energy is completely different. Not only can there not really be dissent or debate on air, but apparently not even behind the scenes. Apparently you're not even allowed to say things he disagrees with on Piers Morgan about trans people, which he randomly decided to play to poison the well against you to make you look like some crazy leftist, even though it's totally irrelevant to the supposed disrespect that you showed.
Irrelevant. I mean, it's just wild. It's like, how can you use me on Piers Morgan as evidence of how I hurt you? What are you even talking about? But yeah, I mean, let's just talk about Dore. It was very funny that he was like, oh, I defended you with Jimmy Dore, and now look, you're calling me names. Okay, let's just talk about it. Yeah. So 2018, height of like the Syrian civil war.
Dude, that's what made Jimmy Dore crazy, by the way, because he tried to come after us for that. We were like, I'm not an expert in that.
Both of you former fans? Both of Zach, you were a fan too?
When we first started making content, he really promoted our show, and then we committed the mortal sin of having Ryan Grimm on, and he starts sending us super chats in the audience telling us that, like, Ryan Grimm denies war crimes, and Ryan Grimm's a crazy person, and then he gets everybody to like quit our Patreon, and we had like 20,000.
You just told that story. That's wild. That's wild.
We were like a fledgling channel, and we had kind of gotten connected to him through Kyle and Crystal and the vote movement, and we were like, let's everybody's feet to the fire. And then he found out, oh, this man is a mentally ill crazy person, and that was when we.
Oh, that was later. That was later. Force the vote stuff. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts on that. We might have been on opposite sides of that discussion.
We don't need to relitigate it.
We don't need to relitigate it. God, we're in such a different world now. Hey, we're all friends. No, but in terms of the serious stuff, okay, so like long story short, you know, I have a friend named Shane Bauer. He's a journalist. He was one of the journalists kidnapped by Iran, who he was on the border, the Iraq-Iran border, whatever. He was held in an Iranian jail, got out. I've been in left media for a very, very long time, since 2004. He wrote some stories for a magazine I used to edit called Left Turn. Anyway, so Jimmy calls him like, oh, why are you an Al-Qaeda operative? Like, what the what? And so I was just like, you know, I had a very cordial tweet. I'd like to see Jimmy do better. Jimmy and I had done like 1 or 2 shows on TYT together. I was still living in San Francisco. He freaks out on me. We all know that he was in Venice at the time, which is very funny. And it seems like he was voiced. You know, he's like gelato's dripping, and he's like, "You're a pig, chill." You know,
more like his 5th Negroni, probably.
Yeah, totally. No. And so he's like, you know, on a gondola, and he's, you know, berating me on the DMs. And I messaged Jank, and I was like, yo, what is going on? Get like a leash on your boy. Like, what's happening? And if my memory serves, like, he was like, okay, I'll talk to him. I waited. More shit from Jimmy, right? So clearly it didn't work. And I was like, fuck this. And I just went public with it. And I posted the DMs that the absolutely unhinged DMs he was sending me, as like they were really abusive. They were far more abusive than saying you're acting like a bitch, not to his face, you know? Insanely abusive. And so then he had to do something about it. And by the way, Jimmy wasn't fired for things had been falling out between them, but it was not me. I might have helped push the snowball a little bit, but it had been a long time coming. You have to do, when you are a white man on the TYT network, you must do a lot to be fired by them, right? Like, he had been running his mouth for a very, 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 very long time. So I just want to put that out there. It's very funny that he's then sort of like using that almost as if like he stood up for me. I'm like, cool, dog. Like, it's just, do you know he also sexually harassed Anna? Isn't Anna sitting off camera left just right now? Isn't she the one who produced this entire segment for you? We know that she did.
After moving into a homeless shelter to avoid Dr. Now and the weight loss program, becoming one of the biggest failures on the show in the process, Dolly Martinez tried everything to escape the consequences of her monstrous eating habit and was crowned the show's most immature star in the process. Her story wasn't straightforward though. After tragedy in the family, multiple boyfriends, and of course, lots of food hindered her progress. Dolly is one of the show's youngest stars ever at just 25 years old. Unable to wash and bathe herself alone, her mother and childhood best friend are responsible for helping her, as she simply cannot manage on her own. To make matters worse, Dolly has a lymphedema mass underneath her thighs, which causes her immense pain.
There's a lot to do. I've had a lymphedema mass under my stomach for 4 years now, so I have to put my leg up on the side of the tub and have China reach through there and scrub for me.
Now, if you don't know what lymphedema is, it's essentially a chronic condition which causes swelling on the body's tissues, and Dolly's case is extreme, needing to be cleaned regularly to avoid infection in the area. In a testimony from Dolly's mother, Stacy, the intensity of her situation is revealed.
Physical care that is hard on me as a mother. There's times when I bathe her that I just can't stop crying because she's so miserable, and that hurts me to the core.
The nature of Dolly's condition puts so much stress on her family that they struggle to cope with her. But despite that, Dolly's best friend says she will do whatever she can to help her.
If she needs anything else, I'd go and do it. I just love her like a sister. Like, me and I've known her my whole life, but I feel like I did in my heart. and she's worth it.
It seems unfair that people in Dolly's life need to give her this amount of care for something that she's brought on herself, but it says a lot about how much they care for her. It's not as though Dolly has a medical condition that requires this level of care, but rather that Dolly has eaten herself to this size and shows no signs of slowing down. We see just how much food Dolly consumes to get to this size too, and it's a shocking amount.
Just sit here. Okay. Food is more than just my reason for existing. What was that, like 15 eggs? Yeah.
Dolly eats around 15 eggs in one sitting. Now, I have maybe 3 to 4 eggs in my breakfast, but Dolly is eating 5 times that. And I know egg prices in America are expensive. In the UK, eggs are around £3 a dozen. So Dolly would be spending just over £30 every single week on eggs alone. But eggs are a good source of protein, so I suppose it could be worse. Now, although there is a ton of protein in this
There's also
meal,
a lot of
there's also
saturated
a ton
fat
of
in
fat
there.
and
Not
calories,
good for the
which
arteries.
obviously isn't ideal for weight loss.
She's
Dolly
got a
would have
fucking
known this
breathing
if she'd
tube.
been subscribed to my brand new newsletter, The Fat Loss Kitchen, where every single Friday we are going to be sending you high protein, low carb meals, which are inspired by the advice given to the patients on My 600 Pound Life, except these meals actually taste and look good. It's completely free to sign up and you'll be worrying about the calories. The link is in the description to sign up. It's completely free and of course you can unsubscribe at any time. I really appreciate the support recently on the channel and let's get back into the video.
Food has caused all of the things I hate about my life, but it's the only thing I've ever had to help me feel good.
To understand why Dolly eats this much and why she resorts to food as a coping mechanism, she opens up about her past, and it sheds a light on why she does this. Growing up, Dolly was relentlessly bullied for being the chubby kid, having to drop out of high school because it got so bad. Needing to find a source of income with no education, Dolly tried to find work at a restaurant, but ultimately failed after just a few days, as she couldn't stand more than 20 minutes at a time. And in a restaurant, that's pretty much what you're paid for. Desperate for an office type job so she could spend the day sitting, Dolly worked for various companies, but got fired because she was unable to keep herself clean, which was due to her weight, and that meant she had very bad BO. Dolly's weight impacted her in more ways than you might assume, especially as she's had such trouble keeping a normal job. But where did all this come from? Why does Dolly have such an obsession with food? Like many other stars of the show, outside of her bullying, Dolly has a lot of trauma. Losing her dad to suicide at such a young age devastated Dolly, and she found solace in eating. As his coping mechanism continued, Dolly weighed over 400 pounds at just 21 years old. Without a job and nowhere to live, Dolly was pretty much homeless. Luckily for her, she met her then husband Ricky, who was also in a very similar situation to Dolly, with no job and nowhere to live. Moving in with Ricky and his parents, Dolly thought things would get better, and getting pregnant with her baby daughter, she was excited to bring up a child. But this was all too good to be true for Dolly, as Ricky quickly became abusive, forcing her to leave him. To make matters worse, just 6 days after giving birth to her baby girl, Child Protective Services took custody away from Dolly and placed the baby under the care of her mother. This was solely due to the fact that Dolly and Ricky were completely incompetent in looking after their own baby.
Giving birth to my sweet baby daughter was the best day of my life. But there were complications because of my weight and because of all my mental health issues. My mom ended up getting custody of Trinity, which turned out to be a blessing. Ricky was being abusive and I was really sick, and I told my mom I can't handle this anymore. And so my mom took me to the hospital and I was there for 11 days. And while I was there, I had time to think.
Dolly's mother taking care of Trinity was also beneficial for Dolly's relationship with Ricky, as how she describes his behavior indicates that he was potentially a feeder, something all too common on the show.
He killed her soul, he killed her spirit. And he kept making these comments to my wife and I that all he wanted to do was just feed her fried foods and watch her getting bigger.
It definitely seems like Dolly dodged a bullet in leaving Ricky. However, her weight gain still continued despite leaving the abusive relationship. On a trip to the grocery store, we definitely see where Dolly's bad habits lie, picking the unhealthiest items that she can find. It really seems like Dolly just indulges in whatever she wants, whenever she wants, not considering the nutritional contents of her food at all.
It's my favorite. Yeah, it is? Yeah. You're gonna put in this cart?
Oh my God, Dolly.
But her addiction to food goes beyond the taste of it. For Dolly, it's her entire life and a deep source of happiness for her.
Food
I don't know about you guys these days, but my tolerance for celebrity culture is just at an all-time low for various different reasons, but a big one over the last year and a bit has been Gaza and Israel, and how many celebrities came out vocally in support of the Israeli destruction of Gaza and then kind of like slinked into the background like they'd never said this stuff. And what's so annoying is, of course, they have a huge public platform and they're helping shape the conversation because this was like the liberal hive mind in Hollywood, and of course like every single conservative like pushing this, and then no one ever asks them about it. Like no one ever says, do you regret saying that terrible thing? Do you regret posting that terrible thing? What do you have to say about it now? No one ever asks. And what happens is we can live in a society where people advocate for the worst crimes against humanity under the guise of sometimes like liberal identity and liberal identity politics, and then they can just move on with their lives. And you can be rewarded. Like look at Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister. He literally said that if Israel shut off the water to Gaza, that would be okay. That's a war crime and collective punishment. So that guy was rewarded by becoming the Prime Minister. Joe Biden, of course, did this. He should be in prison and locked up, but he just slinks away, and we haven't even heard from him since he stepped down from office. And there's just so many voices in Western media that just advocated for so much terrible shit and also continue to do so. And we just have to be okay with them being absolute monsters. And I'm going to use a couple examples today. I could use 100 examples, but these popped up recently for different reasons. So Gal Gadot got, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I don't know why, because she's not a good actress, but even so, she hasn't actually even been in anything good. It's not that she was in like some amazing movies and we can kind of understand it. It's like she literally is not a good actress and hasn't been in a good film, and she's been in like a lot of terrible action movies. And then of course like Amy Schumer just popping up, and Jimmy Fallon. Did he ask her anything about it? Of course not. And also Neil Druckmann, of course, the creator of The Last of Us, has been doing the media rounds and did this big YouTube video of Alex Garland talking about The Last of Us. It got a lot of headlines. And again, these people have all advocated for terrible things to different degrees, and they can just stay like relatively quiet for a tiny bit, come back, and no one confronts them with it, and no one cares. But I don't know about you, but it just feels so insane that you get punished for caring about humanity. I guess that is just the curse of being a leftist, that when we see good actors who've advocated for good things, they get punished. And I even think about this as well, like Bella Ramsey especially, but also Pedro Pascal to a lesser extent. You go to work every day to work for one of your mates who advocated for like the destruction of Gaza. It's like this club, isn't it? Like they don't give a shit. Do you reckon they even spoke about it? Probably not, because that shows you that even people who might care about humanity are just silent for the sake of their careers. The few celebrities who have principles increasingly get targeted, and as we're seeing in America right now, there's a complete war on free speech to completely stamp out anti-Israeli rhetoric from even things like college campuses and deporting people who are US citizens for doing so. So I want to talk about all of this today, and if you want to support my channel, check out Patreon or support me on YouTube memberships, and also check me out on social media at The Tabernacle on Instagram and on BlueSky. So let's talk about this. So recently, you guys might have seen it, that Gal Gadot has received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and she posted on Instagram, "There are moments in life that feel almost too big to put into words. This is one of them. To see my name on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, surrounded by legends who have inspired me, is beyond anything I ever imagined. This star represents years of hard work, passion, and the unwavering belief of so many people who've lifted me up along the way." This was actually disrupted by protesters, and I just want to make things clear for people. People are not protesting Gal Gadot because she's Israeli. You don't really see Natalie Portman, who was born there, get the same level of scrutiny, because although she is pro-Israeli, she's also had like lots of criticisms of Netanyahu and the Israeli right wing, and although she is like a liberal Zionist, she doesn't draw that criticism to herself because also she wasn't in the IDF. So Gal Gadot was in the IDF. She was in the IDF in 2006. She insists it wasn't a combat role, and most women, especially at this time, were not in combat roles in the IDF, but there were women who were in combat roles as well. So her service record isn't public. She hasn't really spoke about her experience in the military. We can also criticize people for joining the military, even though they have mandatory service. It is relatively easy to get out of it compared to a lot of other countries. But regardless, I've said this throughout, and I covered this like 4 years ago. I've always said, if you grew up in Israel and you served in the IDF as like an 18-year-old or whatever, that is of course bad. But the problem comes later is that if you went out and started telling people, yeah, I was brainwashed in this cult, I had to join this military and I willingly went along with it, and I regret it so bad because I realized what terrible things we were doing, that's completely different. And that is actually the experience of a lot of Israelis who become very strong critics of, you know, just Zionism generally. They actually did serve in the IDF. So she probably thinks that everyone hates her just because she's Israeli and did something normal for Israelis. The problem is just with her generally, she did this and then has used her public platform to continuously advocate for Israeli colonialism. I might play some of my old video because I don't want to go through this all again. She posted her support of the invasion of Gaza in 2014. Of course, she's also supported what has gone on in Gaza recently. But Gal Gadot, former IDF soldier, says, "My heart breaks. My country is at war. I worry for my family, my friends. I worry for my people. This is a vicious cycle that has been going on for far too long. Israel deserves to live as a free and safe nation. Our neighbors deserve the same. I pray for the victims and their families. I pray for this unimaginable hostility to end. I pray for our leaders to find the solution so we can live side by side in peace. I pray for better days." Now, it's a really, really interesting and biased framing. The fact she can't actually bring herself to say the Palestinians is really telling. Also, her country is at war is very telling. This isn't a war. This isn't some sort of self-defense by Israel. They provoked this reaction and then use this reaction to disproportionately target civilians in Gaza. So I'm going to put some pictures on screen. Here's Gal Gadot when she served in the IDF. It was in, I think, 2006, during actually the Israeli war with Lebanon. And she says she was just a fitness instructor for 2 years. You cannot find her service record online. I've tried. Maybe you can, but I've looked pretty hard and I can't find it. "I'm sending my love and prayers to fellow Israeli citizens, especially to all the boys and girls who are risking their lives protecting my country against the horrific acts conducted by Hamas, who are hiding like cowards behind women and children. We shall overcome. Shabbat Shalom. Hashtag we are right. Hashtag free Gaza from Hamas. Hashtag stop terror. Hashtag coexistence. Hashtag love IDF." And that's what makes it so curious. This is the same time that the Israelis have broken the ceasefire, killed like hundreds and hundreds of people, and are very intent on destroying Gaza completely this time. So she uses her public platform to talk about this again. Her quote from the Variety article is, "There is a challenge for people to speak on social media because there's so much hate going on and so many bots and so many angry people that are looking for a cause," she says. Although she acknowledges the frivolity with which celebrity opinions can be regarded, she says her advocacy is always rooted in speaking on behalf of the voiceless. Even when her statements have sparked divisive reactions, after October 7th, "I don't talk politics because who cares about celebrities talking politics? I'm an artist, I want to entertain people, I want to bring hope and a beacon of light. But on October 7th, when people were abducted from their homes, from their beds, men, children and the elderly, who were going through the horrors of what happened that day, I could not be silent. I was shocked by the amount of hate, by the amount of how much people think they know when they actually have no idea. And also by how the media is not fair many times, so I had to speak up. I'm not a hater. I'm 8th generation Israeli. I'm an indigenous person of Israel, even though her grandfather migrated to Israel. I'm all about humanity, and I felt like I had to advocate for the hostages. When your compass is clear, your conscience is clean. I know what I'm advocating for, and I know what I wish for the world. I'm praying for better days for all. I want everyone to have a good life, prosperity, and the ability to raise their children in a safe environment." So you've heard that sort of thing a million times. Someone whose grandfather migrated to Israel is saying they're indigenous to the region. Someone whose family changed their name to make it appear like they are from the Middle East. And Netanyahu, of course, did that. It's a very common practice in Israel. But talking about like humanity, and you had to speak up because like the media's biased and people don't know what they're talking about, just shows you the perpetual victim complex of people who grow up in this cult of Zionism, and even stronger in Israeli society, where they think the media's against them. That's absolutely insane. She lives in America. People in America, can you tell me, did you ever see any media, especially in October 2023, that was pro-Palestinian? I don't think there was any, and it was overwhelmingly manufacturing consent for the complete destruction of Gaza, and people like Gal Gadot were the voice for this. And obviously she's saying, I don't talk about politics, but let me use like this moment where everyone's looking at me to talk about me being indigenous to Israel and advocating for common humanity, while saying nothing about people from the country I was born in destroying another territory for colonialism. Again, like, this is just so annoying to me, because No, like, why is there no challenge to this? Why is there no challenge to this? It's because, again, the whole Western elite agrees that we should destroy Palestine for Israeli colonialism and generally capitalism, and it would be so horrifying to confront anyone about supporting this stuff. Gal Gadot is probably like the most famous face of Israel in like American Hollywood and American celebrity culture. But the actual worst person is Amy Schumer, who was posting non-stop vile racist shit about Muslims and Palestinians and basically trying to shame everyone into like supporting everything she was doing. She's been on Jimmy Fallon recently. I just feel sick seeing this stuff. Like, how can we just normalize a culture so much? She posted all of that, went quiet when she realized how bad it was getting, comes back, and like we don't confront her. And again, the Hollywood press, Variety, again giving her a platform without challenge to talk about this. So this is like a year ago now, but the Jimmy Fallon thing was recently. So she spoke about all the shit she'd been saying. So she talks about the current discourse in the Middle East. This is April 24. The focus is so razor sharp on Jewish people, but not on Hamas. It's very strange, so I'd recommend to read a book, Israel, A Simple Guide to the Most Misunderstood Country on Earth by Noah Tishby, again someone Neil Druckmann likes as well, or anyone Jewish people wrote down ever. Yeah, don't read that book. None of this has stopped Schumer from getting jobs. Take the topic of the Israel-Hamas war. She's been scrutinized for social media posts, which some feel can conflate Palestinians with Hamas. She was also criticized for sharing a video of MLK Jr. condemning anti-Semitism, saying that Israel has a right to exist. Bernice King responded to Schumer, saying that her father was against anti-Semitism. He certainly would call for Israel's bombing of Palestine to cease and the hostages be released. It's gotten to this place, Schumer says, where you can't speak up for other Jews without people feeling like it's a slight to the conditions in Gaza. I don't agree with anything that Netanyahu is doing, and neither do the Israelis I know. Of course, what's going on in Gaza is sickening, horrifying, and unthinkable, and I don't think it's okay to hate anyone because they were born Jewish. I need to remind people, she never said anything about Gaza being horrifying until this interview, right? So months later. Because she went quiet. She went quiet before the end of 2023 because she realized, oh, yeah, this is actually getting so bad and what they're doing is so bad. And now I hate Netanyahu. I hate what he's doing. I didn't hate what he was doing like a couple months ago when I agreed with everything he did and supported what he was doing. But again, she comes back, gives this interview, talks about it, barely any pushback, and frames it all as, oh, you know, there's so much of a focus on Jewish people and not Hamas. Is she insane? Is she insane? How has there not been a massive focus on Hamas and there still is an insane focus on them compared to what Israel have done? And obviously it's fine to talk about like anti-Semitism. I've even called out people who use pro-Palestine sentiment to actually push anti-Semitism. Loads of people who are pro-Palestinian have nothing to do with anti-Semitism, do not believe anything to do with anti-Semitism. But again, she doesn't even realize if you are a fighter against anti-Semitism, Zionism is terrible for this because you're telling people, and loads of people are telling people, that Jewish identity or religious beliefs are tied to the nation state of Israel, which is a complete modern construct. And we always have conversations that, oh my God, like, Islamic State don't represent Muslims. But we never really have conversations the other way, because literally this religion and this ethnic identity has been hijacked by extremist colonialism, where the overwhelming majority of people who believe in this religion or subscribe to this ethnic identity, they agree with what Israel's doing right now. So that's what we should be talking about, how this religion has been hijacked by this movement, and it's not something that has always been around. Zionism has not always been around, and it's not something Jewish people have been advocating for their entire existence. It started in the 1800s by Europeans, and the people who actually did it in the 40s compared themselves to the American colonialists who created the United States, right? But again, it's just infuriating. You have to see this person trying to backtrack it, get a very friendly interview, and now we're just gonna have to see her forever, and she's gonna think people hate her because she's Jewish. People don't hate you because you're Jewish, they hate you because you advocated for all this terrible shit. So one more example I want to talk about, and this was probably the most disappointing to me because I really like The Last of Us, and I've made multiple videos about The Last of Us, and I've also made a video about the Israeli-Palestinian politics of The Last of Us as well, particularly part 2, but also part 1. And I think people are a bit insane about The Last of Us, and I think Neil Druckmann deserves criticism. But one thing I'm going to say to people, and I think this is going to go into a video I'm going to make about media literacy on the left, because I feel this in regards to like Dune as well, because as someone who loves Dune, I've read all 6 books. I think a lot of leftist people just grab on to a catchy take and they just say it without playing it. Like I've seen so many people say, oh my god, The Last of Us is right-wing pro-Israeli propaganda, and they'll cite one Vice article which outlined the Israeli influence on the game, right? That's the article I always seen, and I've referenced this article before, but as someone who has probably collected all the information about how this game is influenced by Israeli politics, and I put it in a video because I've listened to all these podcasts, I've listened to him talk loads about it. These games are not explicit right-wing pro-Israel propaganda. We have to remember, despite Druckmann being the director and like one of the co-creators of The Last of Us, not every single thing in video games is just influenced by one guy. I'm thinking about the second Kingdom Come game that I've been playing through, and I really love it. But the guy who directed it is a conservative, like real conservative. But when you're playing that game, it doesn't all come through and you're like, oh my god, I'm playing like fash propaganda. The same with The Last of Us. The only people who notice the Israeli politics in it are people who actually know about politics generally, right? It's not that explicit to your average person, and it's not going to be explicit when we watch things like Last of Us Part 2, and even with things like Jackson in both games. That is basically like a socialist kibbutz from Israel in like the 1950s and 60s, right? How many people would know that just from watching it? They wouldn't. And also the message of Last of Us is a liberal Zionist message about cycles of violence and people just perpetually getting revenge on each other. And the criticism of the Israeli politics is it makes it seem like both sides are at fault and can't forgive each other, and this cycle will just keep going round, not that Israel and Zionists are the instigators because of their colonialism. That's the critique of the Israeli politics, not that it's somehow saying in the game that Israel has a right to exist. So please, leftists, don't get so reactionary, and if you haven't actually consumed media or even read about the dialogue around it, don't just throw out hot takes to just make the conversation toxic. Like, I think we can have a more nuanced criticism. But again, this is why it's so insane, because the message of The Last of Us Part 2, I'm not going to spoil Season 2, and this isn't the main plot about like Joel and Ellie, and that's another point. This isn't even the main plot of the game. This is like a side plot. Basically, there's a messaging in the game about how cycles of revenge can lead to terrible stuff like wiping out an entire group of people. And in that, you'd think someone who wrote that game would think that Israelis using the attacks to wipe out Gaza is a bad thing. But no, that didn't happen. I remember Neil Druckmann put this out. Of course, you know, this misinformation about the babies that Chuck Schumer recently spoke about, despite the fact it's been debunked. Neil posted this, but he says, pure evil, this is what Israel is defending herself from. Reminder that Hamas's charter calls for the complete destruction of Israel. Given the opportunity, they do this to every man, woman and child and baby in Israel. Never again Israeli flag. Posted an Israeli flag on his account as well. He's gone a bit quiet recently as well, but he was posting pro-Israeli stuff on his Instagram stories about like Eurovision and everything. That is just so funny, isn't it? A guy writes a game about why something is bad, and then when it happens in real life, he supports the bad thing. I don't know if this has happened with anyone else, but again, like, it's another person who supported this terrible shit and is now, you know, getting all the accolades, all the prestige. Like I said, he's doing that interview with Alex Garland, and he's going to be in the awards conversation probably again because The Last of Us is so insanely popular, and he's the co-showrunner, right? And it's frustrating because you know he's a smart guy, he's a talented guy, and you know he's thought on a deeper level about these games. Like, that's why The Last of Us is so successful. Like The Last of Us or don't, he has pushed the gaming medium more into the mainstream discourse in terms of the cinematic realm. and he's made like really, really good games because he's obviously like a talented guy. But then again, he's so brainwashed by this cult, he literally goes against the messaging in his own game that he wrote. And is anyone going to ask him about this? Is anyone going to say, you know, your Last of Us Part 2 game was very influenced by your upbringing in Israel. This guy was raised in an illegal extremist West Bank settlement until he was 9 and moved to America, right? And here's the thing, right? I'm a leftist. I think people can change. I think people could be rehabilitated. If he came out and said, you know, I was raised in Israel in this like extremist settlement, all of that stuff in my head, I thought like I'd moved past it. When this stuff happened, I was just seeing such terrible shit. I put out this take. I really, really regret it. And I'm like rethinking my stance on like supporting the Israeli state or some shit like that. I think a lot of people would respect that introspection and be way more forgiving of what he did. But again, he's not going to say that. No one's going to ask these questions. And even people who are allegedly pro-Palestinian, they are going to work with him still. And they are. So what is the fucking point? And it just shows you all these cases, there's just a complete, like, uniformed opinion among the elite in the West that all these people deserve to die, and anyone who advocated for it is actually cool and fine, and you never have to challenge them on it again. Like, we are seeing some people saying we're going to take legal action against, like, Keir Starmer, we're going to take legal action against people who supported what's happening, but it's not going to get anywhere, sadly. And it's just like a disgusting world we live in, where if you told people this, before time, that there's going to be an event like what we're seeing, and every celebrity you know is basically going to support it and like all these posts supporting it, and then just kind of slink away after they've manufactured consent for this stuff, and then no one will ever ask them about it again, and they don't care about it anymore. Like, none of them post about it, none of them post about pro-Israeli stuff, but they were all doing it. And I think that's why increasingly, I think with younger generations, they see celebrity culture for what it is. It's just the Hunger Games. Now, the inspiration for the Hunger Games was the author of the books was watching game shows while the Iraq war was going on. So it would like cut to the news afterwards and you see terrible footage from Iraq, but then you just have this like very privileged position in America where they're just playing game shows while their country are like killing people, right? And destroying a whole nation. And that is what we're seeing again, probably on steroids now. And it just shows you when the US wants to do something, every mechanism just unites around the government to make sure everyone just agrees with this. Thankfully now we have alt media, we have social media. It's not the Iraq war days, but again, it's still the elite in the UK, America, all this stuff. And these are 3 examples, but I could use a million examples. And these people will never face repercussion.
Do I have you?
You've got me.
All right.
Hello.
All right. Hello. How are you doing?
Pretty excellent, man. Friday. I've been drinking. I'm having the time of my life. Playing Call of Duty. Dude, I'm excellent. How are you?
How? Pretty good. Well, I got a cold, but I'm getting over it. It was very, it was very minor. It was weird. It almost started off like, you know how colds are at the end. You know where you get, you know, at least for me, I end up coughing a little bit, and the runny nose was on the wane. But yeah, I woke up. One of my tonsils was kind of red, and I could feel it. I was like, oh, getting sick. Shit. That was a few days ago, and yeah, no, it never got real bad, and it's improving, so I'm all right. Awesome. Just a little snarky.
Well, I hope you feel 100%
happy
soon.
Hour.
Happy hour is pretty good.
Thanks.
Good times. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry for canceling, dude. Okay, so the weird thing that happened the other night before last night, like,
oh yeah,
because I thought I didn't know what was going on. I haven't had this issue since, but there was like I got an invite sent through Xbox, and I didn't think about that. And I honestly don't even know if it's related, but I ended up in a match, and then like you know how like when you're in a party, like your party member is green, like on the mini map and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like I had someone was green on my map, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Someone's like, I'm in a party with someone. you know, and then like I saw who it was, and then the name of the person is Dude He's Hacking.
Oh God.
That was like his literal name. And like I was like,
Get
well,
outta
I'm
here.
out.
That's weird.
And like he could have been bullshit. I don't know if he was
Yeah.
just fucking with me or if he was fucking with everyone in the lobby. He could have just been fucking with everybody, and maybe he was on PC and he's got some weird shit where he can party up with people or whatever. But I wasn't taking any chances at all. I was like, I pulled the parachute and I was like, I didn't want you involved at all with dude. He's hacking. So I didn't even know I wasn't gonna mess with it. I didn't report or anything like that. I literally just turned off my Xbox.
Yeah, better be.
And last night I didn't think I was gonna stay at Little Joe's as late as I did. I thought I was gonna be able to make it back by 7:30. But we actually had a pretty good time. I stayed there a little later than I thought.
Good.
I didn't get back here till like a little after 8, and then I didn't even flip on. Yeah, I didn't even flip on Call of Duty last night. I just did my challenges in the morning. This morning. But
did everyone from ILL go, or was it?
No. Well, Chris was there.
Cirque?
Chris was there. It was the first time him and I went to a happy hour, like in a while. I haven't been to one of these happy hours in a minute. But he's never been to one, and he finally went. It was a good time.
I was gonna say he was always avoiding the social stuff when I was around.
I think he had a good time. I think everyone had a good time. Like, Emily was there, Danielle. There's some new people. Lawrence. There's a dude, Kevin, who's kind of new in HR. I don't think you ever met. Gina there. I knew someone two new were actually really cool. Someone named Amy. Named Dahe. A pretty cool name.
Who suggested it? Was it a like?
It was
a thing,
it was an work sanctioned
for the department or the library.
Probably the department. I'm guessing the department probably wasn't.
Well, references all at home anyway, right? Or what do you call them?
For most of the week. For most of the week.
Yeah.
Everyone except for us. We're like probably
holes.
the only like department that are like there 5 days. But whatever.
So lame.
COVID's over. I'm not. You know what? As long as I'm not in fear of dying of some fucking infection, whatever. Let them stay home. It's cool. I don't live that far.
Hey, I'm still in the menu. Are you in a match yet, or
no? Sorry. I'm still shitting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just chilling.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if I was just like, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not
sorry,
in the match.
I'm sorry. Are you? You got a hard cutoff tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, probably about 8, 10 or so.
Sure. Yeah. You let me know when we're done. Sorry. I'm like I said.
No worries.
Having trouble quitting drinking, but next week I've got all sorts of shit going. These are crazy. I got my keys to the new unit, so I can start moving in whenever I want, basically. But it's supposed to rain over the weekend,
nice.
And like I have to go outside to bring my shit in to the new place. If it's raining, like I don't really want to do that. I have the first and the second called off. If I'm able to move all my shit in over the weekend, I just work those days. But I haven't figured out what I don't know if I'm gonna be able to move the beds. I know that you offered to help, but like that's like seems like such fucking pain in the ass for you to like come all the way out here to help me move. The only thing I need help with is my mattress.
Yeah.
But like it's
I just have to know ahead of time.
Well, I mean, I'm this weekend or Tuesday or Wednesday. It's already the weekend, so this weekend's probably Tenable.
You cut off there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the weekend's probably no good for you. It's too early. I mean, too late. But I do. Like I said, I got Tuesday and Wednesday up. I don't know if you're available, but if you're not available or if you got shit going on, dude, it's cool. I'm like more than willing to just like hire a couple dudes. Like, it's not going to cost a whole lot to have someone this shit to like just another. It's not like they even have to use a truck or anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, let me know. I'll check with Rachel too.
What's that?
She's still off for spring break. I said, can you hear me okay? I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming through fine.
Right, let me
I don't hear my own voice though very well. Maybe
don't hear you. You're not hearing your voice.
I mean, I am a little bit, but.
All right, hold on.
Is that my?
All right, can you? I'm afraid of echoing.
Whoa.
All right, how's it now?
No. I mean, you have to talk a little bit.
Hello. And if check for the echo as well.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. I can hear you just fine. It's just like my own voice in my mic isn't coming through too much. I don't know why.
You're using the Turtle Beach?
Yeah.
Maybe the settings change. There's you can, because there's like the 4 different settings for microphone monitoring.
Here. Check. Anyway, I can hear my own voice.
It's coming through, okay. I used to be a big thing. Hear my voice. I'm not sure if it still is for me, or I'm just, or if this is just working so well. I heard my own voice.
Anyway,
sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, let me check with Rachel and see what we got going on this weekend, if anything.
Yeah, like I said, this weekend.
But, yeah, the weather is gonna probably make a difference.
Yeah, this weather is probably this weekend probably gonna be crap. I don't know what it's gonna be on Monday and Tuesday, but like I said, like if you got time, that'd be super cool. That'd be kind of fun. Maybe I can buy you guys like dinner or something like that for the help. But if it's a problem about it, like I actually like.
Enemy field upgrade active.
I'm thinking about just trying myself because I've got like a little dolly kind of thing that I can roll on. One thing I'm worried about is like getting down like that little like staircase thing.
Yeah, don't.
Oh, that shit. I mean, it's like just throw it down the fucking stairs. Shit. As long as no one's in the way.
If you were moving downstairs, you could just throw it out the window.
Yeah, it's all downstairs. Actually, I could just throw it out the window. Literally, because I'm like just below where I'm at now.
One time I was gonna toss out a futon mattress, and we were on the 3rd floor, and we had a porch on the side of our apartment building that we used to use a lot. But anyway, I dumped it off the. We made sure there was no cars. So like somebody was below, watching to make sure no cars or people were gonna walk by. But we whipped the futon mat into the alley, and it fucking landed in this fucking cloud of dust.
Oh my god.
It was so funny. It was like poof, and all this shit came flying out. Hilarious.
Shit, I feel like I've done something like that before, but
David Letterman used to throw shit off buildings all the time. That's probably where I got the idea.
it's kind of sad that like late night's kind of like dead now. Not like it's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
No Letterman, no Conan. Conan was the last great late night host.
Yeah, I mean, there's still talk shows, but yeah, I don't know who watches them. I think, most people just watch clips of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't watch the whole show.
It's all
generally.
on YouTube. No one's like tuning into ABC to.
Right.
I am like, I've been like off real television. Like, it's for like literally 21 years. I've been all internet. I don't watch anything on TV.
Yeah, I don't have cable. I haven't had cable in a while.
It's dead. Cable's dead. That's just over. You should give it up. But I don't know. We were actually talking about this at the happy hour thing, that how the streaming services are completely fucked right now. There's too many, and like it was good for a little while when it was just Hulu and Netflix. Streaming was awesome, or the services. But then like once Disney Plus came out, then HBO came out, and Paramount Plus,
dude.
and then
So many things.
yeah, too many. It's just like we're like all of a sudden we're paying more than it's away for cable, just if we want to watch everything.
Right. Yeah, it's a racket.
It's super racket, and like they'll get you on these subscriptions, and then like you might have just done it for one show, but if you don't cancel it, you're paying like 10, 15 bucks a month in perpetuity.
Yep.
And you might not even
Enemy
like
stop
know
coming
it.
in. Eyes on enemy.
Come on, you're losing this fight.
I'm pretty lucky because lately my bank card just expired, so I had to get a new card. So any like stupid like subscription service that I'm subscribed to that I forgot about are all getting, your card's expired. Can you? I'm like,
yeah,
like
right.
F off. You done. You're done. You're cut off.
Money. Oh.
Did I tell you I saw Longlegs?
No.
Did you see it yet?
How was it? No.
It was. Man, it was fun.
Enemy 12 o'clock.
It wasn't as good as I was hoping. I'm still waiting for like a horror movie to like really freak me out, man. It just, maybe it just doesn't exist now. Maybe just like I'm not a kid. Shit doesn't scare me. Man, that's the scene movie that like fucking freaks me out.
You're planning on giving up. Do it, man. It's done.
Oops.
I think the last movie I remember really like disturbing me or like really scared me was do you remember Arachnophobia? That was a while back.
Yeah, it didn't have like a single spider. It was like a whole bunch of spiders.
Yeah, it was like just like that was the bad guy. Just thousands of spiders.
I remember Roger Ebert didn't like that movie because there was just too many spiders. There wasn't like a centralized villain.
Yeah,
Just this kind of
I think
amoeba.
Jeff Daniels was in that. I think. I'm not sure. But honestly, after watching that, I was completely freaked out. There was like a spider everywhere. You know what I mean? Well, like I was a child.
Yeah, I could see it having
Like,
that
that was
effect.
like what 90, 94 or something like that. Like I was a kid. Like that was the last movie to scare me.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, dude. I want someone to freak me out, man. I think the closest thing to that was that Nicolas Cage movie, Andy. Did you ever see that?
I don't think so.
Oh my god, you see that? Great movie, dude. It's really like cool style. It's great. It's fantastic. It's like a modern Grindhouse. It's fantastic. And there is a scene at the end where that just like haunts me. And very, very simple, very quick little scene that just like you just like just an image in your head. It's good. And it's like not a super serious movie either, so it's kind of yeah, I mean if you don't it's a movie you don't have to take super seriously. It's still really good. I don't know. There was like a cult way back in the day, but it was like ran by like this white guy, but he had like an afro. I don't know if that's ringing any kind of bells, but I think it's kind of based off that cult. At least the bad guys in the movie. Anyway, dude, I'm sorry.
No, I'm trying to think.
I'm babbling a bit.
Ringing a bell.
Are you working on anything in particular right now? Are you, I mean, it's in Call of Duty.
One of the pistols, I'm trying to get double kills so I can go up the, I'm at max level, but it's, I'm trying to, you know, do the camo grind on it, so, I need one more double kill with a pistol.
Remind the fugitives that actions have consequences.
With the 9mm PM.
Okay. Have you tried Grekova yet? I probably ask you that every day. Automatic
no,
pistol?
I have not. I mean, right. I've seen it in action.
I haven't grinded the dark matter on it yet. And I probably should. I definitely got the dark spine, but it's still like this all you.
Come on. Get these double. Insane. Die. Ugh.
If you have something to say, you best say it.
What is your problem? Now I'm start working on the calling card challenges. I'm doing like combat axe kills.
Dude.
And I've got to get assassinations with sleeper agent. I'm almost done with that one. That was actually pretty.
Oh my god. How am I on top? I feel like I'm in the shittiest fucking game.
I'm at the bottom. Dude, I've been having shit.
I'm dying every 2 seconds.
Dude, this has been my entire night. Usually this would be like, actually this has been my entire week.
Oh my god.
This whole week I've been playing like dog shit. I don't know why. But this is like one of the first times I don't care because if I was sober, I wouldn't be able to talk right now. I'd be so fucking shitty.
Oh my god, I cannot kill anybody. I'm gonna have to camp or something in this, man. I cannot get this done. Die. Oh my god. Ridiculous.
You know what?
Die.
I'm busting up the sniper. I'm just gonna lay back. Shit, I don't want our whole team. Shit.
Spring mine was disrupted.
That's fine. You might need to say Call of Duty break, but I'm gonna go. I am honestly thinking about once Verdansk comes back, doing the Warzone camo grind. Yeah, grind from the bottom up. It's like first turn.
Come on. Oh.
Yeah, you know how I said that you have to be careful, but you shouldn't listen to what I'm saying. I have no clue what I'm talking about. God damn it. I would be really doing that. Yeah, switching.
Oh, Lord.
God damn it, bro. I'm seriously getting pissed. I would have just raid this point.
Okay. Finally got the goddamn double kill. Fuck. Ish. Oh, I did a really ridiculous, I injured myself minorly in a completely ridiculous way.
What happened?
Okay, so, it's kind of, as one of my other friends pointed out, this, you know what Rube Goldberg is? Or who he
That
was?
name is sounding familiar. You texted me about that, right? That wasn't the Atlantic dude.
No, Rube Goldberg, anyway, he was like a cartoonist and an inventor, and he would make these contraptions. His name is synonymous with, like, these ridiculous, you may have seen, like, in Tom and Jerry or something, like, where, like, you know, somebody engineers this thing to do, like, a bunch of contraptions to do a really simple task, like, let's say, light a match.
I mean, the name sounds
but
super...
It's like, it starts...
Yeah,
you
like,
just Google it. You'll know it.
I get
you'll
like
know exactly
a whole like kind of just like a chain reaction,
complex, needlessly complex chain reaction situation that results in one stupid thing happening. So anyway, I had chapstick in my my shirt pocket, and I was gonna do laundry. So I balled up all the bedding. And I walked over to the light switch, and I always have like a lot of static shock issues. I get shocked all the time. I carry a charge, man. I'm like Electro. And I I hit the light switch, and I had so much static energy off of the blankets that my fucking hand shocked so hard it flew back my chest right where my chapstick was, and it fucking like bruised my wrist.
So the shock pushed your hand into the chapstick.
Yeah,
And
it
the chapstick in your like a
back like
pocket for a
punch.
pocket.
I punched myself. Yeah, hit right on the plastic against my bone, and it fucking hurts like whenever I cough or like breathe too hard.
Oh, dude, it
It's so
sucks.
stupid.
I'm sorry.
No, it's funny. It's just funny. I was
Life's-
like, yeah, that's that.
It's kind of like when you're like holding something and you accidentally drop it like on your nuts or something. it's like not only did I just drop this and fuck this up, I also like happen to knock my nuts with it.
Yeah. How could this get worse? Yeah.
God, yeah, it happens, man. It happens. I've been getting a lot of shocks, but only around my computer, which I don't like at all. Like, I got a microphone in front of me that, you know, I do for streaming. That'll shock me sometimes. My controller will shock me sometimes. And when my controller shocks me, sometimes it'll, like, disconnect the Xbox, which is super weird. Those are probably the microphone.
Yeah, winter's bad. If
That's
you
why-
don't
that's
have
why-
humidity happening.
I got both my windows open tonight, man. A beautiful evening. 73 degrees.
All right, I think this will be my last match here.
Okay, oh, I'm sorry.
Now I got to get 3 kills or better with my pistol. That should be fun.
Engagement windows open. Go, go, go!
Some of these maniac skills.
Hostiles have captured the hard point.
Even though I'm just on the bottom of shit every game. Oh, god damn it, dude. Oh, dude. I'm just sorry. Sorry. I'm backsliding as far as my code reads goes. What's going on?
Oh, come on. Oh.
So, it's sad.
Hardpoint identified. Hardpoint is active. Hostiles have the hardpoint.
I only did it once, but you know, have you ever heard about these axe throwing places? You can go to a place and you throw axes at a target and like you can drink.
Yeah, I've seen those, and I've seen way too many women like put pictures of them doing that on.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's a red flag for me.
It's a red flag.
But yeah, I've definitely seen this thing. Why did you go to one, or did you?
We did it a long time ago. Yeah, we went. It's all right. I wouldn't say it was like do once, you know, and then that's pretty much.
Doesn't seem like too much. It seems a little too. I mean, I don't mind danger. That's a bit much.
Hardpoint located.
Axe throwing, like that's just got X in it. It's like literally axes in it. So.
Hardpoint active.
Come on. Oh.
Hardpoint is secure. Hostiles have the hardpoint. Hostiles have captured the hardpoint.
I'm just glad this winter's finally almost over, man.
Oh yeah, today was freaking beautiful.
Very nice.
Hardpoint identified.
Yeah, I had
Hardpoint is
home, it was
secure.
like 70s, high 70s. It just global warming is really fucked up the weather, but when the weather's nice, I'll take it.
Hardpoint locked down.
There's just no mediums anymore.
There's no what?
Mediums. Do like cold as hell or it's getting kind of hot.
Hostiles have a field upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, I used a snowblower once, twice maybe this year.
Oh really?
This
Yeah,
winter.
it wasn't
ridiculous.
It wasn't a terrible winter. We definitely had worse.
But I mean,
I hate winter. But winter can last 1 week. So.
Hardpoint located. Hostiles have the hardpoint. Hardpoint active. Hostiles have captured the hardpoint.
Oh, we haven't talked about it. What the hell's going on with these guys?
Hardpoint is secure.
I've just you know, this whole headset and
Hostiles have the hardpoint.
the guy from the Atlantic after their
the
unsecured signal chat. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, that's.
Oh yeah.
Hostiles have captured the hardpoint.
I don't.
It's beyond ridiculous, man.
It's insane and like obviously fucked up, but like I just really wish more people were upset with the fact that like the shit they were talking about doing are fucking war crimes, man. Like one of the things they were talking about was the fact they blew up like they basically took down entire like
an apartment building?
Apartment complex to take out one person.
Yeah.
They killed 13 civilians to take out one guy. It's a war crime. It's not just, it's a war crime that they're just like talking about like you know, willy-nilly on an unsecured
true.
It's just like, what are we doing? What the fuck is like both America and Israel are just blatantly doing war crimes. Like, dude, like we like stop. Fucking stop. I don't wanna be I don't want my representatives like doing crimes against humanity, man. Like it's just like that's like secret or not, it's like they shouldn't be committing war crimes. Like they're killing civilians. And like Israel's been doing it literally for like an entire year, over a year. Just murdering kids, just babies, bombing hospitals, bombing tents. And we're just giving them the money to do it. And now it's kind of, and then we bombed Yemen, and we, that one case of the taking out an entire apartment building to take out one person, which is a war crime, but so many civilians are getting killed, dude, and like it's just like the media doesn't give a shit.
Glosses over that part.
They just don't give a fuck. And that's just
That's true. I mean, you bringing that up is like the first time I've actually heard anyone
that's
bring it
fucked
up.
up, dude. Like I'll still check out what MSNBC, CNN, but like they are misinforming people, dude. Like they're not giving they're not giving you the whole story. I'm not gonna say they're lying, but there's lies by omission, and they are 100% doing that. Like I'm a conspiracy theorist, but like they're like stenographers for the State Department. Like they're basically making excuses for America's war crimes committed by our government that we're paying for. They're taking money out of our fucking paychecks to do war crimes. Fuck these assholes. I'm done with this shit, man. Fuck. And it's just gonna get worse. Nothing's getting better because the liberals won't fight. And like they're just like, and like the Republicans are kind of like, well, what are you gonna do about it? And Democrats are like, nothing. So it's like, where's his head, man? Whatever. I mean, and like I'm not willing to like put all my faith in like the fact that like Trump's administration is so stupid, so inexperienced that they're just gonna like implode on themselves. I can't put my faith in them. Like, these people need to be fought. If they're not fought, like they could be as dumb as hell. Just like who's gonna stop them though? And like Bernie and AOC have been pulling like huge rallies. They're going like all like across like the down south and across the west and shit. Like they're having rallies with like 30,000 people. Like bigger than like the rallies that like Bernie was getting in 2020 when he was running for president. Wow. This MSNBC doesn't talk about that, do they? CNN. Bernie and AOC are having these gigantic rallies, like basically kind of like, yo, Elon Musk and what they're doing is fucked up. We need to stop this. Like basically the whole thing's called like, fight oligarchy. It's basically just like a rule of like the rich, which was like evident at the inauguration. Trump, like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and Jeff Bezos were all sitting there in a line, like with the president. That's oligarchy. That's like the rich, a little group of rich dudes rule, and like Elon Musk is just directly ruling, and like he should be. I mean, he should be. Like what he's doing is treason. He should. I mean, people are treating him like he's a fucking genius. He should be executed for what he's doing. He is like violating the Constitution. He's not even qualified to be the president. He wasn't born in this country, man. You can't even run for president and like not be born in America. And he is like running the shit like he's the president.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
And then like, whatever.
I mean, isn't he like? My brother said something about him paying for votes in Wisconsin now or some
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Like,
he's
how is
going
that
all
even
in. I don't know.
remotely-
I haven't looked into the actual election. I'm not sure which.
This is Gray. We
Is
have
it for the
wounded.
governorship?
Get us a ride.
Or is it,
Yesterday.
is it some else shit?
I think it's probably not sure.
Yeah, I'm not
but,
sure either.
you
That,
know,
but I
how
did
is
hear he
that
was like
fucking not illegal.
I did hear he was like in the Midwest causing trouble. Should piss all of us off in the Midwest. Elon Musk is a piece of shit.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean the internet today guys have been talking shit about Elon for years, and like they were more than 100% right about everything. This is like he is nightmare situation. He needs to be stopped. Like he needs I don't wish harm on people. He needs to someone needs to take him. Period. He's not a government official. That shouldn't be illegal to say. He wasn't elected. He's not. Someone should he needs to go.
Well, I'm gonna have to run here, man.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, but
I'm so sorry.
It's okay,
dude.
No worries.
I'm ranting about seditious shit.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
there
man.
is.
Hey, what's your schedule tomorrow? What are you doing?
Tomorrow I have to run out to Elmhurst. I'm gonna try to fix up part of this wall over at Claude's house. There's a big tear in it, but that's about all I got going on. It's Saturday.
If you have time to play, cool. Sunday. What's going on Sunday? You're more free. I'm thinking about doing like a DMZ sesh, not super late, like earlier DMZ sesh if you're capable, if you're available.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let me just write it down so I know.
No pressure.
That I'll do.
Of course,
do
it's just
Sunday, 'cause,
DMZ.
yeah,
It's just DMZ, but man, it's business, man. It's serious.
Serious business.
Pyro has not
Yeah,
died
all
yet.
right.
Inexcusable.
Yeah, no shit.
All right, cool. Have a good
Gotta
night.
James, man. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, take it easy.
All right, good night.
John doesn't know it, but he's in my heart. Just like anyone who's watching right now, which is probably not any, but if even one person sees me talking on the stream, you're in my heart. I gotta pee. I'll be back.
actions and they will never apologize, and no one in the press will ever challenge them about it. I would love someone in the press to ask 3 of these people, literally quote back what they said and ask them about it, because Neil Druckmann was spreading that misinformation which actually facilitated the destruction of Gaza, right? So someone can ask him, you got caught up at the moment, do you regret sharing that now it's been thoroughly debunked? Is anyone going to ask that? Highly, highly doubt it. And speaking of Alex Garland as well, I'm so happy he's working with actual war criminals now to make art house cinema about the illegal Iraq war. I'm just sick of living in a world that just has like no morals, and that is the curse of being a leftist, is there is no ignorance around this stuff. You just know everything, and it sucks, and it's bad, and you can predict bad things happening again, and you just get to watch, and the only satisfaction is, oh yeah, I was right about that. It's not much satisfaction. So that is it for the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you made it this far, thank you for watching.
Well, at the very least, I think the past week or so has been both evil and stupid enough that you would hope even some of the most disconnected people are suddenly catching up with the past few months. Now, it is typical, if not therapeutic, for your average person to take some time away from the news after a major election, regardless of whether or not their candidate won. But we would venture to guess that the people who voted for the winner are the ones that are most likely to just go, la, 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 la. I have no idea what's going on, and frankly, I endorse it. Whatever it is.
I assume America is being made greater every day.
Uh-huh. Until it comes to their doorstep, of course. And up until now, that has been in the form of huge layoffs across the federal workforce. Over the past few weeks, as more and more people are directly affected by these layoffs, either themselves or their friends or family, you have started to see a little pushback from otherwise loyal voters who started to realize, wait a second, the leopards are eating my face now. But there was a significant shift in general reaction and awareness this week for many other reasons. Despite the horrors inflicted by this administration in its opening weeks and the potential war crimes committed during the strike itself, where innocent people were killed, the reason that Signalgate has remained the top news story in the country is because it is quite literally an embarrassing scandal involving drunks and incompetence.
Yeah, I mean, we're aware of how bad it is from a national security standpoint, and we'll certainly get to some updates about that story later on. Yeah. But if you're looking for a real scandal, one that is obviously a lot more difficult for people to look at or acknowledge, we regret to inform you that Signalgate wasn't the grossest, most deranged event that took place in the Trump administration this week. Because former governor of South Dakota and current Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, the one who shot her dog in the gravel pit.
Yeah, that's the one.
She took a little trip down to El Salvador to film a fascist propaganda film. And at this point, you might be saying, guys, enough with that F word. How bad could it possibly be? Surely there aren't direct visual connections to the Holocaust.
And first of all, I want to thank El Salvador and their president for their partnership with the United States of America to bring our terrorists here and to incarcerate them and have consequences for the violence that they have perpetuated in our communities. I also want everybody to know, if you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face.
Now, we are in no position to be anyone's moral compass, but we should remind you that these are human beings.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they've been accused of, and in some cases, there are people in that jail who absolutely should not be there by any metric, unless you literally believe crossing a border means you deserve this treatment.
In which case you're a piece of shit. In some specific cases, crossing that border for asylum and being active in the process to acquire that legal status.
Mm-hmm. Doing everything the right way.
And these are many of the prisoners who were, of course, flown there illegally after a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to halt or return any flights with prisoners bound for El Salvador.
Mommy said not to. I did anyway. Misbehaving.
Now, those orders, they were obviously ignored, and now Kristi Noem gets to go down there and film something straight out of a Verhoeven film while wearing what appears to be a watch that costs as much as the average U.S. yearly salary. It's just, amidst everything else, all of the other ghoulish imagery, it's a wild flex for a public servant in general, but especially ghoulish considering the backdrop of caged prisoners being used as props. But yeah, message received. The U.S. government can and will ignore due process, mistakenly round up legal residents, intentionally break federal law, and just disappear people down to a prison in El Salvador as violent punishment.
A prison in a country that
they're not from.
They're not from.
Now, as we've covered previously, some of the people sent down there were captured and accused of being part of a gang simply because they had tattoos. Some were asylum seekers with zero criminal history. But regardless of any of that, we have to circle back to simple humanity and how our country is doing this right now. Not just doing it, filming it and promoting it as something that we should apparently all be very proud of.
Yeah, I mean, an interesting thing is that even so far, the deportation rates haven't been, like, wildly higher than what they were in the Biden administration, for example. The key difference is the just sheer glee and joy that the people doing these deportations seem to get out of it.
And the extreme measures that they're taking to prove their point and send their message. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not proud of that.
No, it's ghoulish. Very ghoulish. So how do you handle due process when it comes to deporting millions of human beings? This is a question that has been asked a lot recently, only about 12 months too late.
Yeah, probably should have been asking the Trump campaign that before this became reality.
Yeah, I mean, we were, but we weren't in a position to actually ask them about it, and no one else apparently thought to ask when they did have the opportunity.
Yeah.
So the answer to that question, it might not shock you, but it's unfortunately really bleak. There just isn't a way to make sure that millions of people's rights are preserved and that no mistakes are made. It is not possible to house and transport that many human beings safely and securely. And the process, it would be arduous, expensive, time-consuming, all these things that are the opposite of what they're trying to do right now.
Yep.
The budgets would be astronomical at a time when the administration is pretending that it cares about spending. And honestly, they don't even really fucking care about that. This week alone, Fox News hosts, as well as Trump's border czar Tom Homan, admitted that due process is not only impossible, but that people don't even really deserve it.
I also think it's not practical to think that we can do due process on 8 million people.
No. If we're going to give every these guys a day in court and a lawyer, we can't do it. They don't deserve it.
Or how do your people in the field determine that somebody is a gang member?
Look, there's various methods. No, I've noticed that in the media this week, a lot of them don't have criminal histories. Well, a lot of gang members don't have criminal histories.
Do they get a chance to prove that before you take them out of the country and put them in to a notorious prison in a country that they're not even from? I mean, do they have any due process at all?
Confident. Look, due process. Lake and Ronnie's due process. Bottom line is, that plane was full of people designated as terrorists.
And not only that, earlier this week on Fox Business, Homan casually admitted that, yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of collateral damage.
I took, we arrested 370 illegal aliens in Boston and the surrounding counties, not just Boston. Majority of them were criminals. We had, numerous collateral arrests, and I've said it before in the show, and I'll keep saying it. Collateral arrests are going to be, people who aren't criminals that are found when we're looking for the criminal are going to be taken into custody.
So before we move away completely from Kristi Noem, get back in here, Kristi. Before all this, the most famous thing, or the thing that she was most famous for was, of course, taking her pet dog out to the gravel pit and executing
and then writing about it proudly in a book, and then denying that she did the thing that she wrote about in that book.
She admitted. Aside from her ghoulish photo op, she's also announced that she'll be trying to, quote, eliminate FEMA. Because the Trump administration is taking control of Joe Biden's weather machine, and they have confirmed that there will be no new natural disasters. What do you mean the Carolinas are on fire just months after suffering the effects of Hurricane Helene? Ah, jeez.
It's spring. Why would anything be on fire? I don't think so.
Now, honestly, you would assume after so many recent examples of FEMA being in desperate need of more funding, that at the very least they would just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Gutting it is wild, and this will undoubtedly have immediate effects on people as wildfires burn and we enter yet another ever-expanding hurricane season. So the first comments about eliminating FEMA came on Monday this week while Noem was talking about border security.
Noem said she planned to eliminate the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, during a televised cabinet meeting Monday. While giving a status report on border security, Noem added, "And we're going to eliminate FEMA." She did not elaborate. That's great. Great job, President Trump said, appearing to respond to her broader status update. He is senile. Yeah, he's kind of just sitting back. He is not running the country. It's all of his little weird...
Oh, yes, very good. And he's just, yeah.
He is unaware of anything that's going on. They asked him about those, like, soldiers that got, like, lost in a swamp in Lithuania, and he had no one had ever told him about it.
Mm-hmm.
The signal thing, he was like, you're telling me for the first time, and this time I'm being serious. He's not running shit. And so when she said she's going to eliminate FEMA, he's like, cool.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Mm-hmm. But according to Politico, the next day, during a meeting with administration officials, Noem said that she wants to eliminate FEMA's role in funding long-term rebuilding efforts and halt multi-billion-dollar grant programs that help communities prepare for disasters. We are grateful the press is covering Secretary Noem's efforts to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse within the Department of Homeland Security, a DHS spokesperson said. The meeting also included FEMA Acting Administrator Cameron Hamilton and Corey Lewandowski, an advisor to President Donald Trump. That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
So basically what they're trying to do is, I guess, reduce the role of FEMA to just immediate disaster response in the immediate future. The recovery and rebuilding efforts, that would be left to the states, which, yeah, probably not going to work out very well for many of our poorest states who just so happen to be in the direct line of fire for natural disasters intensified by climate change.
Yeah, I mean, the whole FEMA thing is very much primarily motivated by their desire to hurt Californians. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you right now, California will be the least hurt by this particular way of doing things.
Even this past Saturday, the acting FEMA head was chatting with state managers about, quote, the difficulty of change and how states needed to be more resilient and more responsible in their disaster response efforts, according to one state-level official who attended. Now, again, we're all for streamlining some of these agencies and eliminating the insane hoops that people have to jump through to get consistent aid.
That's not what they mean, though.
No, it's not. Eliminating the agency or just decimating vital parts of it doesn't really sound like the scalpel that Trump has been pitching lately.
It's a very big scalpel.
Mm-hmm.
You can cut watermelons. You can do the fruit ninja with this scalpel.
That's right.
Anyway, even back in January, while touring damaged areas, Trump was talking about dismantling FEMA. Rather than mobilizing federal officials who specialize in responding to disasters nationwide, he said at the time governors would be responsible for overseeing disaster responses in their states. Let the state take care of the tornadoes and the hurricanes and all the other things that happen. I think you're going to find it a lot less expensive. You'll do it for less than half, and you're going to get a lot quicker response, Trump said.
No, sir. No, that will not happen. Much like everything else you've done so far, this is going to have awful.
What if there was a federal agency specifically devoted to disaster relief with decades of experience in dealing with all the myriad types of disasters we have?
On the job experience.
What if we had that instead of 50 different states having to build their own FEMA from the ground up?
With the support of the federal government to deploy to various parts of the nation, what if we just got rid of that?
Yeah, very cool. Anyway, even Florida's officials are sweating. They're saying that their own version of, sir, first of all, best truck I've ever owned, but if I could please make just one suggestion.
5 stars, best administration, best cyber truck I've ever owned.
Kevin Guthrie, executive director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management, said, at the end of the day, we need federal support. All emergency managers nationwide would agree FEMA needs to be reformed, but states and localities are not equipped to handle every disaster alone. Please, Mr. Trump, please.
I promise to say thank you.
Thank you.
You know what looks like a hurricane is a big swirly lollipop. So elsewhere in the evil and stupid world of this administration, the United States simply will not stop fucking with Greenland.
Leave them alone.
They're getting goddamn sick of it. And this week, J.D. Vance's wife was scheduled to visit the country and start taking measurements. She's putting up the curtains and everything. We're moving in. The United States is moving in. She was set to be joined also at some point by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz.
Oh, yeah, definitely let that guy get his hands on something else as well. I got to imagine there's people in Greenland who, up until the last few months, they were rubbing that monkey's paw and they were like, Why does the world not? Nobody in the world cares about Greenland. No one thinks about us. We're right here. We got this big piece of land, but no one even knows who we are. Anyways, Mike Waltz and Usha Vance were going to Greenland to watch the dog race. Sorry, as a show of force and intentions to absorb the nation. But also, there's dog races this time of year.
Yeah, they said they wanted their cultural experience.
Mush. On Monday, Trump spoke about the trip and claimed that officials from Greenland were asking them to go. A claim that Greenland later denied and called highly aggressive. Here's CNN. Greenland Prime Minister Moot B. Egede, said, "What is the National Security Advisor doing in Greenland? The only purpose is to demonstrate power over us. His mere presence in Greenland will no doubt fuel American belief in Trump's mission, and the pressure will increase."
So in the days that followed, U.S. officials dropped all pretext. They canceled those plans to watch the dog sled race.
We just wanted to see a nice dog sled race, but then you had to go and be a big old meanie.
Yeah, and now Usha will be joined by her husband, the vice president, and it looks like Mike Waltz will be replaced by Energy Secretary Chris Wright, which will, of course, undoubtedly increase tensions even further.
The fuck is the Energy Secretary doing in Greenland?
And the vice president going to Greenland now after they made a fuss about, hey, why are you coming here?
Can't they just ban these people from entering? Like, I feel like they'd be well within their rights to say, sorry.
Only days after Second Lady Usha Vance's trip to Greenland was announced, out are the dogs and mushers.
Damn.
In is a visit to a U.S. military installation miles away from any civilian population center, with her husband, Vice President J.D. Vance, tagging along and expected to take aim at the island's Danish government, according to a senior White House official. As J.D. Vance watched the outrage over his wife's trip grow, he decided to join her, the senior White House official told CNN. It was a combination of a little bit of commotion from Danish leaders combined with Vance wanting to go for a while, said the official, who added that the vice president argued that if Danish and island leaders were going to get worked up over his wife's visit, they could get worked up over him and his entourage traveling to the territory. I don't know, sounds threatening.
Yeah. Also, why is this guy always, him and his wife are always going to like cold places where no one wants them? Like that ski trip they did in Vermont.
Yeah. I decided I didn't want her to have all that fun by herself, so I'm going to join her, Vance said in a video announcing his participation earlier this week.
So this obviously isn't sitting well with a lot of people in Greenland who, much like their PM, see this as the threat that it is. NBC News spoke to some local residents to hear what they thought about the Vance's little visit, and their coverage starts with the note that locals were preparing to receive U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance with what they were calling the Arctic cold shoulder.
Doesn't get any colder than that, folks.
We have always looked at America like the nice big brother to help you out, and now it's like the big brother in bullying you. Anders Larsen, 41, the owner of a local water taxi company, told NBC News on Thursday. Growing up, you see Hollywood movies, all the heroes, and then you feel backstabbed, and you feel like an ally that's just gone the other way around, and you're like, this can't be happening. This is not the America we knew, added Larsen. Tungatak Larsen, 67, attended a demonstration against Trump, whose plans, he said, were not acceptable here in Greenland. Why do you want to buy a human? He added. We are not for sale. I don't think he wants you.
Well,
he wants to look at a map and see America in the middle of the ocean.
It's very big.
It's as simple as he made America bigger than before.
Well,
and therefore better.
It's also a military position, and there's valuable natural resources there.
Right.
That they're trying to fight China to get access.
But also this is like a post facto justification. Like for Trump, it literally is. It's just make America bigger.
And he's like, well, let's figure the rest out.
And Republicans and conservatives, they've had to twist themselves into knots to like retroactively make it make sense. Yeah. The funniest thing about that is the best reason to have Greenland for ourselves relies on you believing that not only is climate change real, but it will be having serious effects on polar ice within the next few decades. Because they're like, we need those shipping lanes. Like, and why would you need those shipping lanes? Go on.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what it comes down to. Although he is very stupid, I think a couple of years ago when he made the claims initially, he knew that it was going to be worth a fuck ton of money if the U.S. controlled all of the precious natural resources and shipping lanes.
This is stupid. Like, this is where China's kicking our ass, too. They just, like, go to Africa where they got all these little rare earth minerals, and they're like, we're going to build you a port. You've never had one of those. We're going to build it, and you're going to let us mine for some fucking minerals.
And the U.S. is going to defund their USAID, which...
And America's just like,
hey, that's not fair. Yeah. That's not fair. You shouldn't do that deal with China.
And they're like, what are you talking about? It's working out pretty good so far.
But yeah, Trump, he did. However, quadruple confirmed that he is dead fucking serious about annexing the territory while talking to reporters late Thursday. Quote, "We need Greenland for national security and international security," Trump said. "So, I think we'll go as far as we have to go," he continued. "We need Greenland, and the world needs us to have Greenland, including Denmark. Denmark has to have us have Greenland. And we'll see what happens. But if we don't have Greenland, we can't have great international security," Trump added. "I view it from a security standpoint. We have to be there." Again, I don't think it's as much for security as it is for taking all of their resources, but sure, that is definitely going to calm everyone down. Everyone on every side of this little tiff.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you really can't do that's just Trump being Trump.
No,
he has tripled, quadrupled down.
We're taking it.
Yeah, he at this point, he's serious. He's not joshing.
But now I guess we have to provide some sort of update to the biggest scandal of the week. And if you're not caught up, good news. We have 2 videos about Signalgate, but the TLDR is basically the entire Trump cabinet was in a group chat discussing war plans or attack plans or whatever you want to call it. They somehow accidentally invited a journalist who watched in disbelief as they openly discussed military actions. He reported on it. They denied a bunch of stuff and claimed that actually it wasn't even classified information or military plans at all. So the journalist leaked more messages, which showed that the officials were lying.
And quite a quick turnaround on that. It's very fun to see. Anyway, aside from a constant stream of videos where everyone involved either attempts to deflect from questions about their involvement or accuses the journalist of doing something illegal.
We're not going to comment any further on that. If you want to talk about classified information, talk about what was at Hillary Clinton's home that she was trying to bleach a bit. Talk about the classified documents in Joe Biden's garage that Hunter Biden had access to. This was not classified information.
I just talked to Elon on the way here. We've got the best technical minds looking at how this happened, but I can tell you for 100%, I don't know this guy. I know him by his horrible reputation, and he really is the bottom scum of journalists. And I know him in the sense that he hates the president.
It looks like a bunch of these morons, who are, of course, hired based on merits alone, had a bunch of their personal data and login credentials just floating around online, accessible to anyone who wanted to look hard enough. One German outlet in particular decided to do just that, and Der Spiegel found info tied to, of course, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, the best people. Here's some of their reporting. Links to full articles are always in the description below. Private contact details of the most important security advisors to U.S. President Donald Trump can be found on the internet. Der Spiegel reporters were able to find mobile phone numbers, email addresses, and even some passwords belonging to the top officials.
Most of these numbers and email addresses are apparently still in use, with some of them linked to profiles on social media platforms like Instagram and LinkedIn. They were used to create Dropbox accounts and profiles in apps that track running data. Woo! There are also WhatsApp profiles for the respective phone numbers and even Signal accounts in some cases. As such, the reporting has revealed an additional grave, precisely unknown security breach at the highest levels in Washington. Hostile intelligence services could use this publicly available data to hack the communications of those affected by installing spyware on their devices. It is thus conceivable that foreign agents were privy to the Signal chat group in which Gabbard, Waltz, and Hegseth discussed a military strike.
Real dream team.
Again, there is a lot more info in their article, so please go check it out. But now we're going to finally transition into just a slightly lighter fare. It doesn't really get too much lighter, but we're going to ease into the rest of the news because society is still, having a bit of a moment. We're having a bit of a moment right now, and some people are, I guess, finally realizing that through the power of AI, they are, in fact, actual fucking Nazis.
And also realizing yet again Grok is woke, unfortunately.
Grok is woke, unfortunately.
Shocking, we know, all of it. But I guess we have to chalk up another win for the wokest chatbot on the internet.